Jesus is real, but you devils taught lies on Christ. So many lies that when we come with the truth, people think that the lies is the truth and that the truth is the lie.
Who changed the truth for God into a lie? In English, Jesus Christ, in Hebrew, it's Yahweh Shai. So do or die. The immaculate conception is deception, along with the myth of giving gifts on December 25th. Christmas is Satan's claws, the birth of Nimrod, and not the son of God. To you was kinda odd. On the Passover, Christ was born in the spring. So now we bring the truth about the King of Kings. That's Black Jesus and not Caesar Borgias. And the facts can't be changed. It's all about the Most High. It's all about Yahweh Shai. It's all about the Most High. It's all about Yahweh Shai. It's all about the Most High. It's all about Yahweh Shai. It's all about the Most High. It's all about Yahweh Shai. It's all about the Most High.
Here in Houston, Texas. And we got classes out in San Antonio. Their location is 4219 Centergate Street, San Antonio, Texas, zip code 78217. We also got a school in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and the address to that school is 501 Copper Ave, Northwest Albuquerque, zip code 87102. And here in Houston, classes are are Mondays and Wednesdays from 7 to 10 p.m., Fridays from 6 to 9 p.m., and Shabbat, Saturday morning class, is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can catch all of our classes, previous classes on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. And we got the 5 Minutes of Wisdom that we're doing on YouTube as well. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, we got the news show back up and running, ISBHPK News, or the Breakfast Club with ISBHPK. Please like, share, and subscribe that as well. And again, that's all on YouTube. And out in Albuquerque, we have our Blog Talk Radio, and it's with Mashaba, and it's from Monday through Friday, and it starts at 9:30 a.m. And if you'd like to, the link to that is blogtalkradio.com/MASHAHBA. And that's what Mashaba and the brothers out there in Albuquerque, New Mexico. To my left, we got Priest Kazakia. And please only text during class. His number is 281-707-2737. And we also got Priest Quatazab. His number is 303-557-8979. Pure Rim is coming up March the 16th. Again, Pure Rim is coming up March the 16th, 2018. No, I don't know how I said that, but. And then 2 weeks from that, we got the Passover. And the Passover is going to be on April 1st. The location to that is the Sterling Banquet Hall. The address is 5475A West Sam Houston Parkway, North Houston, zip code 77042. And if you'd like to send in any donations, all contributions is welcome and needed. We got the Wells Fargo account number on the screen. And if you'd like to Google Wallet a donation for the lambs for the Passover, for the location for the Passover, for the rent here at the school, or any monetary donation that you'd like to help the school out with, or the Passover out with, our Google Wallet is isbhpk@gmail.com. Again, the Google Wallet is isbhpk@gmail.com. And like we said, all forms of donation is accepted and welcomed. So that includes books, Bibles, pens, apocryphas, zondervans, everything. Everything. So does anybody have any questions? Also, please get your questions in online.
Yeah, we'll start out with that, and then going to tonight's Shabbat class. If anybody has any questions on any topic, now's the time. Let's get them out. We ask you, brothers and sisters, to please like, share, subscribe. please like, share, subscribe, okay? And remember, use our videos, you know, so you can get those views on there. That helps us out also. Not that not that YouTube is paying anybody anymore. At one time you could say you probably get a few bucks, but YouTube, they ain't having that no more. They won't monetize your videos if you're Israelite now. You're talking too reckless for them. So they don't want to give you no they don't want to let no
sponsors?
Yeah, no sponsors or commercials. Yeah. But also it just gets out the word, man. It gets out the word. It gets out these different videos and different points we touch on. Let's see here. Yeah, check out these news shows we've been doing. They've been really good. We've just been touching on the different topics. Classes also has been good. Different points. We know a lot of y'all that really want those spiritual classes to be dealing with your spirit. You're going to get the knowledge, but a lot of y'all need these spiritual classes to be working on you. Remember, Christ, when he comes back, he's not going to say that I was just dark skinned. Mm-hmm. He wants to see that you became the new man, the changed brother, the changed sister. So I know a lot of these classes get in on your spirit, but that's the process. Everybody talking about baptized. You need to be baptized with the word. So let that word cleanse you and cleanse your thoughts. So we'll start out with questions if we got any up here. Give them a few minutes.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Like, what's the next thing in prophecy are we to expect?
The next thing in prophecy to expect.
Mm-hmm.
Escalation.
More what's already going on.
Right. More what's already going on. Go to let me find it here. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. That's what's needed though. Yep. Same scripture. Same scripture I was thinking. That's how you know, man. There's one. Where? No, it's no, it's one in it's in Isaiah. It's one in S. Yeah.
What made you ask that question?
Well, I was thinking, it's a book of prophecy. It's history and prophecy, future events that's gonna happen. And I remember we were going through Revelations, and then I was like, well, the Most High tells us what's gonna come,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of things has happened already.
Right.
So I'm like, where are we at? What's gonna be the next thing that we can expect to see?
Right. Israel wants to always know the signs. But go to that Micah 4 and 10. Micah 4 verse 10.
Isaiah 34 is looking for?
Micah chapter 4 verse 10.
Go ahead.
Micah chapter 4 verse 10.
Uh-huh.
Be in pain and labor to bring forth,
Right.
O daughter of Zion, like a woman in travail.
Right.
So now shalt thou go forth out of the city.
Right. So the reason why we went here is because it's only an escalation of more of what the Most High said is going to happen. Right. So we're waiting for this to peak. As a woman is travail, right?
Gone.
And she's having a child, what happens as she's going through these pains? You know, the child ain't put in her belly and then, you know, she pops forth the child, right?
Gone.
There's a time period. She goes through the morning sickness. She goes through the pains, right? Throwing up, all the way to the 9 months, and then, or what is it? 9 months, and then I forgot. I got a few kids. I forget these things, man. Where she goes through this process, and it's nine months later, and then even then she goes through contractions. So this is why you read this a few times in the scriptures, about her being about the allegory of us being in travail, right? Because that's what's gonna happen. It's gonna peak. It stops. Like you see an earthquake here, you see uprising over here, shooting over here, and just turmoil. Like, think about it. Just a few months back, there was a tornado wiped out Puerto Rico. There was all these there's all these things going on destruction wise, and then it what? Calm down. And then next you know, boom, just a few weeks later, or recent earthquake in Mexico, was it?
Yeah, calm.
Boom.
One of the biggest.
Then it what? Settles down. And then what? A shooting here, a death here, right? So uprising, famines, pestilence, wars, rumors of wars, right? You got all these things, all the prophecies coming to pass like a woman in travail. You know, that's one of the key things for us to understand. That's where a lot of the world goes off at, right? Because they're thinking like, that's just random stuff. That's life. That just happens. But if you want to deal statistically, you see how it's increasing. All these things have been increasing, right? To the end comes, right? Go ahead.
And thou shalt dwell in the field, and thou shalt go even to Babylon. There shalt thou be delivered.
Right. So you see this across the board. This there was another one I was looking for, man. It was in Isaiah. Oh man. But it goes along the same. I thought it was in Isaiah. I might be wrong. But it tells you that it basically says the same thing as a woman in travail, that we were going to be brought forth as a nation. I want to find that one, man.
It's 26 and 17. Isaiah 26 and 17.
Let's go there. Is it the one?
That's it.
Is it?
Oh no, I'll say.
Isaiah 26:17. Let's go there. Isaiah 26:17.
Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 17. Like as a woman with child that draweth near the time of her delivery,
Yep.
is in pain,
There you go.
and crieth out in her pains.
Yeah, that's it. I got it right here too. Yeah, read it from the top. That's it.
Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 17. Like as a
You know what? Read 26. Read 15. Go down. Yeah.
Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 15. Thou hast increased the nation. O Lord, thou hast increased the nation. Thou art glorified. Thou hast removed it far unto all the ends of the earth.
Right.
Lord, in trouble have they visited thee. They pour out a prayer when thy chastening was upon them.
Right, so that's talking about us, right?
God.
The Most High punishing us, right? Putting us in captivity, delivering us into all the kingdoms of the earth. And we pray to the Most High. Go ahead.
Like as a woman with child, that draweth near the time of her delivery.
Go ahead.
Is in pain, and crieth out in her pains.
Right.
So have we been in thy sight, O Lord. We have been with child. We have been in pain. We have, as it were, brought forth wind. We have not wrought any deliverance in the earth.
Right, we have not wrought. Go ahead.
Neither have we the inhabitants of the world fallen.
So, showing you that that's how Israel is. That's what we've been like. It's been pains and sufferings, and we've been waiting to be bared as the children of the Most High. So, one of the key things we're looking at, because remember, and we just got in this conversation last Sabbath, it's going to come as a thief in the night. Right? But what is it that you're seeing that everybody else is not seeing? It's what you're asking. You're seeing the increase. You're seeing it happening, but you're seeing the increase in it happening. You're taking note of that. The world, they're not doing that. They're going to be caught off guard because it's just going to be another day for them. But we know that it's going to, little by little, increase to their destruction. You don't have to read down, though. It's talking about what's going to happen, in the last days when the Most High raises us up and basically raise the dead, right? So, but when you do read down, you see that this is a future prophecy. That it wasn't back then. The children of Israel weren't raised from the earth, and the horn wasn't blown, and all the dead rose in Christ. That didn't happen. When you read down here, this is one of the keys to show that how we're going to come about to be brought forth as a nation. As a woman in travail, yeah.
No, it was 2nd Ezra chapter 16, just on point about how the world would be. The pestilence, the famine, it just goes into that.
You can read it. Go ahead.
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 1. It says, "Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack of hair. Bewail your children and be sorry.
Right.
For your destruction is at hand."
Right. So where are you at?
It's the 2nd Ezra chapter 16.
Yeah, and there's some cats didn't like that destruction of the nations class I did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, the thing is that they're trying to say that that they're going to be saved. The nation's going to be saved. It's like every prophecy was about the Gentiles and the nations being destroyed. So, a lot of people don't want to face that. They don't understand that it's our salvation. They don't want to see that. Go ahead.
Verse 3.
So, you're in Ezra's, right?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Verse 3. A sword is sent upon you.
Right.
And who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you.
Right.
And what is he that may drive them away?
Right. And, the thing is that we could go over all the scriptures on the destruction. I think his question is like, what to look for next? Because you know the outcome.
Kind of like like what notable event should be next? Like we know America's gonna get nuked.
Right.
But is that the next?
Right. Is that the next thing?
Yeah. Or is there something else? Another type of notable event in between that? I understand the escalation of things.
And the thing is that the moon already turned into blood.
Animals dying rapidly.
You got it's not one notable event. Until you get to the escalation of nations fighting against nations.
Okay.
That's the major one, right?
Con.
Right? 2nd Esdras 13.
Con.
Right?
Con.
So that's one of the notable ones, but I think it's not set up like that. It's not put together like that in the scriptures, or else we would be waiting for it.
We'd be able to follow it.
We'll be able to follow it. And I think, I get it. That's what Israel want to know. They want to know, what's the next thing I got to look out for? It ain't set up like that. The word ain't set up like that. It gives us the signs, but we know from the escalation or to the end what is going to happen. Earthquakes, famines, pestilence, wars, the sun shall be turned, or the moon shall be turned into blood. The waters are going to be destroyed. Those things happen. Right? So all those prophecies came to pass. You see, but it wasn't the one prophecy that led us right after the Christ is coming back. So it's many prophecies. What's up?
Yeah, and just about that, because in 2nd Esdras 18, it talks about the beginning of sorrows, the beginning of wars and famines. And like you said, like Venezuela right now, they have no food out there.
Yeah.
You got cats going through trash cans looking for food.
Yeah.
And all these different, and that's Israelite people are there in that land.
Right.
So it's like the Most High has given us the small keys, the small, like I said, we know how it is. It's like there's more killings in school now than there were back in the 50s and 60s. Like, I don't think anybody brought a pistol and just murdered the whole school in the 50s and 60s and 70s or 80s.
Right.
And it's just more and more and more. But,
No, we would have to go over all the scriptures that kind of show you all these things that are going to come to pass. What's up, sis?
And when he asked that question, I was listening in the car. I was thinking, along with what you said about coming, like Yahushua is coming like a thief in the night. There's not any particular order either, right? Like the Most High hasn't given us like an order of how things are supposed to come. Because just like the scriptures say, he's gonna come like a thief in the night. If we were
if we knew the order of things, we once again try to get ready at that time.
Or what was happening, we wouldn't be practicing and rehearsing
the righteous acts.
I mean, if I knew somebody was coming, I'd be like, oh.
What's crazy is that we do know though. What's crazy is we do know, but Israel, it's like you want to exactly know. Right. Let's think about this. We know when Christ, we know we're in the last days. We know we're in the final hour. We're like, go to Romans 13 and 11. We know this.
Romans chapter 13 and verse 11.
Go ahead, read that.
Romans chapter 13 and verse 11. And that, knowing the time, that now is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe.
So, like I said last week, we know it's nearer than we believe. But remember, when they wrote this was written for the generation to come, right? We know, looking at the times and the signs of the times, what it's going to yield. Right? But you got to think about the irony of this. That was written back then. So the things that they were seeing, was going to bring about an accumulation of the end of their time, right? But it wasn't the time that they were looking for, right? It wasn't Christ coming back, like the apostle said, "Will thou at this time restore the kingdom to Israel?" Because if you look at this, everybody's been looking for that. Everybody's been wanting to know, when is Christ coming back? So, yeah, he's speaking in the spirit about this time, right? Salvation is nearer than we believe. Go ahead.
For verse 12, the night is far spent.
The what?
The night is far spent.
So that's what we know. So when you're asking, do we, you want to get technical and want to know the exact, what is the defining point, right? We know the defining point, but not as a carnal mind would want to know.
Right.
We know it because all the pieces of the puzzle are fitting. We know it because the prophecies are coming to pass. We know it because the word is getting out and Israelites are waking up throughout the world. We're putting all the pieces together. So this is that's why he said, "Blessed are your eyes, for they see." So what do they see that everybody else don't see?
The escalation of events.
But you see that, but do they see that? Does the world see it?
No, it's just normal everyday life. Things happen.
So y'all have to see, it's not meant for them to see. It's meant for them to be caught off guard. But blessed are your eyes, for they see. Because you're what? You're doing with your Lord's will, and you're watching. Well, how are you watching? Physically?
Live.
Or more spiritually?
Spiritually.
Right. But you see the physical things happening, but only a spiritual eye can put them together. Right? So, yeah, there's not going to be, we know the day is at hand, it's like dawning. It's the dawn of the new day. But is it here yet? No, it's not here yet. So, I know I'm not answering your question, but I'm answering your question. It's not answering it because there's no answer, like one scripture to say, okay, the next great event that's going to happen is this.
Right.
Right? Even Christ said it. Go back to Matthew 24. Finish that and then go back to Matthew 24.
Romans chapter 13, verse 12. The night is far spent. The day is at hand.
Right.
Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness.
So the day is at hand. The night is far spent, meaning that their time is coming to an end. The dawning of the new day is coming to an end. Go ahead.
And let us put on the armor of light. Let us walk honestly as in the day.
Let us what?
Walk honestly as in the day.
Go ahead.
Not in rioting.
Right.
And drunkenness.
Right. So we get that. Go to Matthew 24 and 4.
Matthew chapter 24, verse 4.
Yeah, because there's some key points in here. Read that.
Matthew chapter 24, verse 4. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Christ.
Right.
And shall deceive many.
So one, tell signs. But is it one time?
No.
No, like that. This has been happening since David Koresh. Right? But the increasing of it is getting more and more as we get closer. Right? But you see how he wasn't going to put it out there like, okay, it was that one time the person said they were Christ and then Christ comes back.
Boom.
It was an accumulation of these things. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
Same thing, right?
Gone.
There's always been wars. Well, how is it going to work to where the blind get caught off guard? Well, they're going to be thinking, oh, there's always wars. What are you talking about? But we see the increase of the wars. We see the increasing of the uprisings. Right? We see the pushing to Armageddon. Go ahead.
See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass.
Right.
But the end is not yet.
So, you see that?
Come.
He's telling us all these things, but the end is not yet. Go ahead.
For nation shall rise against nation.
Right.
And kingdom against kingdom.
Right.
And there shall be famines.
Right.
And pestilence.
Right.
And earthquakes.
Right.
And diverse places.
Right.
All these things are the beginning of sorrow.
So, you see that? He's not even saying that's it. That's the end. He said this is the beginning of the end. You see? See, he didn't leave no room for you to be like, oh yeah, it's coming right. All right, we got to get prepared. You know what I mean? Go get guns. Go get that. No. He wants to see his servant doing. You see that?
Come.
All these are the beginning of sorrows. Yeah. Go to, I think it's, yeah, Joel 3.
Joel chapter 3.
Go to Joel 3. You can read 11 on down.
Verse 11.
Right.
Assemble yourselves.
Right.
And come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about.
Go ahead.
Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord.
Right.
Lest the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat.
Now we went over this too.
Come.
We talked about the valley of Jehoshaphat, where all nations going to be brought. Right. Tells you that in Isaiah, in Esdras also. Right. Go ahead.
For there will I sit and to judge all the heathen round about.
Go ahead.
Look ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe.
Right.
Come, get you down, for the press is full.
Right.
The fat overfloweth, for their wickedness is great. 14.
So you see that? So we would have to really go through all these scriptures again to remember what the Most High said. The little nuances in the Bible. You see that? That's why the Bible must be read precept upon precept, here a little and there a little. Because there's so many things. It's not one thing that's going to give it away. Or else he would not come as a thief in the night. You see that?
Come.
He would not come as a thief in the night if he gave it away. Go ahead.
14. Multitudes. Multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkened.
Right.
And the stars shall withdraw their shining.
Right. So I wanted to, I didn't want to go on the whole chapter. It was actually Joel 2 and 28.
Come.
And if y'all just tune in, we're going over questions. He just asked a question about what should be expected for the next main event, and we're just going through showing that it's not one main event. It's an escalation of all these prophecies that the Most High said, that Christ said, that the apostles said, that was prophesied, right? So I'm not going over a whole class on destruction. I'm just jumping around on some different points, okay? So read that, Joel 2:28. We've been over this also. We've been over these scriptures, so go ahead.
Joel chapter 2 and verse 28.
Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass afterward
that
I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh.
Right.
And your sons and your daughters shall prophesy.
So there you go. Another prophecy, right? Right? So, but this prophecy, of course, is bringing on the last days as we read on. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Go ahead.
Your old men shall dream dreams.
Go ahead.
Your young men shall see visions. And also upon your servants and upon your handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit.
Right. Which the Most High is doing now. The Most High is pouring out his spirit, which is the word, which is the knowledge of the Most High. And a lot of these things also, whether it be prophecy, whether the dreams, whether visions, it's happening. Right?
Come.
Go ahead.
And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth.
Right.
Blood and fire.
Right.
And pillars of smoke.
Right.
The sun shall be turned into darkness.
Right.
And the moon into blood.
Read.
Before the great and terrible day of the Lord comes.
Right. So, I had quoted it, but that's happening. How many blood moons have we had? Right? So, but once again, was that the defining theme? It wasn't. You see the blood moons. Oh, he's here. No, that's showing us we are in the last times and prepare because everything I told you is happening, is coming to pass. So all these things, it's wars, rumors, wars, famine, pestilence, the blood moons, the water being destroyed, the Spirit being poured out. Right? Yeah.
Is the earth being barren? That's going to happen again too, right?
That's going to more so happen with destruction. Right? The land shall be barren of faith. Yeah, that's going to happen. Go ahead, read on.
Verse 32.
Uh-huh.
And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be delivered.
Right.
For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be delivered.
Right, so we get that. Look, where are we at real quick? And then we'll jump to the next question. 1 Thessalonians 5 and
verse 2.
Go ahead.
1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse
1.
2.
You might as well read 1.
1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 1.
Go ahead.
But of the time and of the season, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you.
Right.
For you yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night.
Right. So we can't write it unto you because there's a lot of things that cannot be pointed or lead you to the next, like your question, the next vital act that's going to happen. There's nothing that can be said on that. All we can do is go through the precepts and the prophecies and show, okay, this is the time we're in. Go ahead.
Verse 3. For when they shall say, peace and safety,
right,
then sudden destruction cometh upon them.
Right, and that's what they're doing, right? That's happening. So, yeah, but once again, is that the defining theme? It is, but it's not. It is mingled with all these other things, shows us that we're in the perfect time. So, a lot of us talk about, and you'll hear us say it a lot, Christ can come back 100 years from now. He can. But if we look at the signs and the times, it kind of puts us in the middle of the last days. Right? But could I, definite as a man, say, oh, Christ is coming back any day now? You can't. Because then you're not once again listening to the precepts. Go ahead.
Last precept. As travail upon a woman with child.
Right.
And they shall not escape.
Right.
But ye, brethren, are not in darkness. That day should overtake you as a thief.
Well, you shouldn't be. Why? Because you're working. You're doing the work. You're teaching. You're building. You're sharing this word. You're changing yourself. It's not going to overcome you if you're preparing yourself. Remember the parable of the 5 virgins that were prepared and the 5 virgins that weren't. The whole point was that, you got to be prepared. Then the scripture comes back, before you can teach others, you have to teach yourself. Right? So let's be real with this. There had to be change in you. That's what Christ is coming back to look for. What's up,
No, just with that about being prepared in Matthew 24.
Yeah.
In 43 down.
Okay.
Read that about being prepared. Be ready as a thief.
Okay, go ahead. Jump there. Jump there real quick and we'll go back to Revelation. Thessalonians.
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 43. Actually, verse 42. Watch therefore ye not know what hour your Lord doth come. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore be ye also ready, For in such an hour as ye think not, the Son of Man cometh. So it's just saying about just being ready. Obviously, we see in the signs, the small details, the rumors of war, the famines, the pestilence, the confusion. It's about just being mentally aware of what's going on with yourself, so that you're right when Yahweh Shai comes back. Right.
And that's a little. What's funny is that's what we're going to touch on tonight for class. But let's get these. Go back to Thessalonians. Let's finish that up, and then we'll go to see if we got any other questions. And if not, then we'll jump into class. Go ahead.
1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 5. Ye are all the children of light, and the children of the day.
Right.
We are not of the night,
right,
nor of darkness.
Read.
Therefore, let us not sleep as do others,
right,
but let us watch and be sober.
Right. So that's what we're supposed to be doing now. You don't supposed to be walking around like Joe Donut Head, right, sleep, dumb, deaf, and blind, and putting off from day to day, thinking that, oh, you know what, I can keep messing up. Yeah, it says a just man falleth 7 times. But really, is this the time for you to be playing around?
Wow.
Not if you see, not if your eyes are open. This ain't the time to be double dutching, back and forth, unsure and not sure. I mean, no time in the truth should be like that. But how much more in these last times, right? Go ahead. Come on.
Verse 7. For they that sleep, sleep in the night.
Go ahead.
And they that be drunken are drunken in the night.
Go ahead.
But let us, who are of the day, be sober.
Right. Aware. Be aware. Go ahead.
Putting on the breastplate of faith and love.
Right.
And for a helmet, the hope of salvation.
Right. So, all right. So y'all got that, right?
Come.
All right. So what else? Do we got anything online? I mean, did that help out a little bit?
Come.
You know, I know what you're looking for, but remember, the scriptures ain't giving that. You know, you got to be comforted through all the wisdom.
Come. It's like when they were asking Yahweh Shai, they're saying, well, it says that, you know, the Christ is supposed to come, but Elijah's supposed to come before the Christ.
Right.
And he's like, well, Elijah already came. God didn't recognize him.
Right.
So I was kind of like, well, remember
Very good
Revelation
point,
classes. There's things that happened, and then you go back and look at the Revelation class, and then you look at the history, and it's like, dang, that was that?
Right.
So,
right. And then what's crazy is that you see how these prophecies transcend. Very good point. He said Elias must come, right?
Come.
He did come. But then he also said he will come before the great and dreadful day.
Come.
So you see how these prophecies, because I seen that online. My brother was like, oh, that prophecy came to pass. Like, no, you're not getting it that, like, a lot of these prophecies haven't came past to their full validity.
Right.
You know, they haven't came past that brings in Christ in his judgment on the earth. So when you're reading it, you're kind of like, oh yeah, I seen this brother online tell this other cat, oh brother, you gotta go study because that already happened. It's like, no, it didn't happen to the validity of Christ being over the whole nations in the world. It might have happened on a low level, right? Us being overthrown, right? Us being scattered through the world, right? Like even now, we're being gathered, right?
Right.
As Israelites. But are we being gathered to the point that Christ said he will gather us? So, yeah, I was just watching this guy and I'm like, he's not getting that these prophecies have a full fulfillment when Christ comes back. And that's what we have to understand. So, yeah, that's a perfect point. Elias did come. Well, I thought when Elias comes, it was going to be it.
Right.
And that's what they were thinking.
Come.
Right, yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, all right, man.
No question.
We'll give y'all a few seconds for questions. If not, we're going to go directly into this topic for the Shabbat. All right? Give y'all got anything in here? La? All right. nothing? Brothers? Lamad? Rob, Zion, none? Alright. Alright, we'll give them a few seconds. If they don't got anything, we'll go right into the topic.
Oh, there's a question.
Yeah.
They ask, is just jamming with some musicians on the Sabbath unlawful?
Well, remember, what are you supposed to be doing on the Sabbath? You know, yeah, you're supposed to be doing the work of the Most High on the Sabbath. You're supposed to be meditating on the Most High on the Sabbath. So, if you jamming and praying to the Most High on the Sabbath, that's one thing, right? You know what I mean? If you get together and you praying on the Sabbath, because during the week, you did your work, right? So on the Sabbath, you're supposed to be saying, well, let me do the Most High's work. So, you know, brothers got to understand that you have your time, but you need to make sure you give the time to the Most High, to thinking on the Most High, meditating on the Most High, and to doing His will. So, is jamming, you know, if I go home right now, right, after class, and I put some music on, right? No, there's nothing wrong with that, me listening to music, you know, and sitting there on the Sabbath, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But are you going to see me out in the club jamming on the Sabbath? No. Because first of all, people that see me, right, they're going to think what? It's okay to do my work or do what I want to do on the Sabbath, right? So you're not going to see that. You're going to, home is one thing. Yeah, you can be jamming to the musicians and in your home on the Sabbath and praising the Most High on the Sabbath. But remember, you want to come out of what you're doing. Go to Isaiah. Go to Isaiah real quick. And you know why it's got to be to that point is because, remember, you lived your life for you for how many years? However old you are. You lived your life for you. You did your things that you wanted to do. And all we did in the world is do what? Party, 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 like it's 1999 on when? On the Sabbath.
God.
Friday night, you get off work, you're going to go do what?
Party,
party. Right? That's what we did, right?
God.
You know, and I say we as, I mean, it's been a long time that I went out on the Sabbath I've known the truth for long times, but I'm saying as a nation, you did that. Now you're supposed to be coming back serving the Most High. Not doing your own will. Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 13.
Go ahead.
If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure.
To doing what?
Doing thy pleasure.
Right, so you got to incorporate the Most High in this now. There's nothing wrong with listening to music, but are you meditating on the Most High? Are you listening to the Most High? Listening to music at home is one thing. Going out and partying with the world is another thing. Your mind ain't going to be on the Most High. It's going to be out on the scattered bootay wherever you're around, and it's going to be on everything else you're doing. Right. So now you got to seclude yourself as that chosen, and that day prepared on the Sabbath. You know why is doing righteousness on the Sabbath, doing the will of the Most High on the Sabbath good? Because why? You know, like you see all these Israelites in the four corners of the earth speaking on the Sabbath. Because they're doing the Most High's will. That's why he said, you're not doing your own will, you're doing the will of the Most High. Right? So, you know, I'm not saying that lazy-ass brothers that's sitting at home is doing the Sabbath. You're doing your own will. You just want to sit around. You're supposed to be uniting with these Israelites and doing the work of the Most High on the Sabbath. That's what Christ was doing. Right? You're supposed to be in class, getting the knowledge. That's where Christ was at. It said he rose up on the Sabbath and read out of the book of Isaiah. So you can see that this day was not prepared. It was not for you to just be all about you. It was to be about you remembering about the Most High. Yeah, in your conscience, in your mind, in your spirit. You know? Go ahead.
Come. And call the Sabbath a delight.
Yeah, you're supposed to call it this. Read it from the top. Read it again.
If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath,
right,
from doing thy pleasure.
Right. So, keep in mind, man, you did all those things, the partying and the clubbing, you did those on the Sabbath. Many years of your life. Well, stop doing your own pleasure now. You know, think about it. How many breakdowns and how much wisdom that you have? I mean, you know, if a young brother asks me, "Hey, can I go out and have a beer right now?" I'd be like, "Bro, do you know how to break down the color of Christ? How's your rib at home? How's your kids?" Like, remember last week when you got all psychological flustered because you couldn't bat your way out of pride and envy and doubt and jealousy and hatred? You should take this time to go put your spirit into the Word instead of going out on the Sabbath. You see what I'm saying? So this is the perfect time. So putting away your own pleasure. Go ahead.
And call the Sabbath a delight.
Go ahead.
The holy of the Lord.
Right.
Honorable.
Right.
And shalt honor him.
Right.
Not doing thy own ways.
Yeah, so, you know, remember, come out of her, my people. Be not partakers of her sins. Like I said, if at home you're listening to music with your family, you're praising the Most High, you're meditating on the knowledge, you're studying, that's all gravy. You out there in the midst of the crooked and perverse generation, partying and dancing and doing all those things, that's another thing. All right? You gotta let that go, man. Let that go. All right? You know, I mean, we can keep going on in this one, but I'm not. I mean, he or she, whoever asked that, hopefully they get that. All right, what else? What?
If we all worship the same God and consider ourselves Christians, why is it that it seems that Catholicism is so much different from what we learn here?
Because we like to think we worship the same God, but we don't. we don't. You know, the simple fact is a lot of religions, you know, when you deal with Islam, right? They like to think they serve the one true God, but what are they calling on, and what are they worshiping? Right? What are they worshiping? Right? They say God is Allah. Well, do you know where all these things come from? These customs come from. You know, one of the things is that we're coming out of the mind state of calling good evil and evil good. You understand? That's what we got to come out of, and that mind state is in a lot of religions. We're saying, I believe in God and Christ, but you're having the Christmas tree. You want to love him your way, but the Most High has a set standard on how we're supposed to love him. So we got to get it right. I know a lot of people would want to say they believe in God. Well, I believe in the same God as you. We believe in the same God, and I believe in Jesus my way. You believe in Jesus your way. There's only one way.
Right.
And the confusion has to be eradicated. There's one way, one method, right? So one way to serve him, to believe, you know. So that's what we're getting right now. The Israelites, we're supposed to be clarifying with the knowledge of the Most High, what way to love the Most High,
right,
and come out of these religions and doctrines. And now, if you want to go through, I mean, Catholic, come on now, that's Catholics are born on idolatry. Everything inseminated into the Catholic belief, deals with idolatry. All right, from the worshiping of the Mother Mary, idolatry.
Right.
From the worshiping of the cross, idolatry.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't just look at it as the cross. They literally worship that cross. That person on the cross, they know it as Jesus Christ. We know that ain't Christ. Right. You understand? And they bow to that more than anything. If you took one of those crosses and threw that cross on the ground and stumped on that cross, people will look at you like you damn insane. You're like, oh, wait. And we're like, that's not Christ.
Santa Maria de la Cruz.
Yeah, if you took the picture of the Virgin, what they call the Virgin Mary, and stumped on it and burnt it, they'll look at you like, oh my God, you guys are heretics. But that ain't Mary. That ain't Mary. That ain't how Mary looked. And we're not supposed to worship Mary. So, I mean, we'll take the whole class to go through all religions and show how they're based off majority of them. I'm not saying all of them. Majority of them are based off of worshiping idols, worshiping, engrafting false customs into their belief, right? I mean, they don't even, a lot of these religions don't even got it down. Like, let's deal with Christianity, right? Yeah, they worship the cross too. But just on a basic sense, Christmas. They celebrate Christmas. Easter's coming up. They're going to be running around with bunnies laying eggs. And when you show them out of the Bible that Easter, it tells you Easter correctly translated is Passover, they still want to do Easter. So there's a way, right? Go there for me. Go to John, was it 14 out of the way? Go there real quick. Go there real quick. So, yeah, you know, we have to start coming back and understanding what the will of the Most High is. Yeah, and yeah, as the Israelites, as we're getting it together, but I'll put it like this. Right now, whatever camp, there's little discrepancies in doctrine, but we all serve the one true God. We all don't celebrate Christmas. We all don't celebrate Easter. We all don't worship idols. You know what I mean? Yeah, we might have little discrepancies about this scripture, that scripture, but for the most part, all Hebrew Israelites, we're in the same mind.
Right.
We serve Yahweh. We don't serve no religion. We don't serve no man. And if they did, and if an Israelite person did come with that and said they were the comforter, we would look at them like they were crazy. Right. And that's what majority of the Israelites do. You know what I mean? I'm not saying there's not crazy Israelites or people that say they're Israelites and have adopted Christianity, but for the most part, I can say the ones that have the truth is the Hebrew Israelites. And in part, we know in part, we prophesy in part. But the little part we know, how much far difference is it from all these other religions? Far. Far. Now there's other churches and religions waking up. They're waking up, but look how long it took.
They're still behind.
Yeah, they're still behind. They're still scared to teach the people of God. They're still scared to teach that Christ is a dark-skinned man. To take out all the false images out of their church. And give a true representation of the Most High in Christ. So, like I said, we could go the whole class with this topic. It just, because all we got to do is just little by little break down where these religions and how they've indoctrinated us with all things that is not the Most High. I mean, listen, voting. To have your church come back and say, okay, we're all going to vote Trump this year. That's wicked. That's wicked as hell.
We're going to hold voting at ours.
Yeah, we're going to hold voting at our church. I mean, like, it's those things that keep us influenced by the beast and by America. Like, this is the beast. They promote lies and falsehood and corruption, but you're going to be like, let's vote in their system. I mean, outside of them not keeping the laws anyway, right? So it's... Like I said, we can do this all night. Where you at?
This is John chapter 14 and verse 6.
Yahweh
Shai saith unto him,
go ahead.
I am the way.
Yahweh Shai is the way, who you know as Christ, Jesus Christ. We know him as Hamashiach or Yahweh Shai, which is the Savior. Go ahead.
I am the way, the truth, and the life.
Go ahead.
no man cometh unto the Father but by me.
Right. So there is one way. Now, on the other hand, where are we at?
Proverbs chapter 14 and verse 12.
Go to Proverbs 14 and 12.
Okay.
So Christ is the way. Go ahead.
Proverbs chapter 14 and verse 12.
Go ahead.
There is a way that seemeth right unto a man.
See, we know how much Yahweh Shai is the way, but there's another way. There's a way that what?
Seemeth right unto a man.
Go ahead.
But the end thereof are the ways of death.
Yeah, so once again, are you serving the one true God, the Father of heaven and earth, right? Yahweh.
God.
Are you under his son, or are you saying it and you worshiping idols and putting them before? You would worship a Christmas tree before you serve Christ.
God.
You know what I mean? And I know people don't understand that, but we deal with it all the time. How many people you tell them the Christmas tree is not in the Bible, and they will go to war with you and won't even show you that out of the Bible. War. They go to battle with you. That shows you they believe in a lie more than they believe in the truth. So yeah, you know, they have a form of godliness, but no, they don't really have what?
I'm there.
Go ahead, where you at?
This is Romans chapter 10 and verse 2.
Romans 10 verse 2. So y'all see that, right? It says Christ is the way, the truth, the life, but then it says there's another way that leads you to death. So and we got to be clear, we got to have understanding what's getting us closer to the Most High in Christ, which is following the law, statutes, commandments, cleaning our spirit, our mind up. Go ahead.
Romans chapter 10 and verse 2. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God,
right,
but not according to knowledge.
Yeah, so they want to know God. They want to believe in the Most High, but they don't want to believe according to the knowledge. They don't want to believe according to these scriptures, man. Like I said, basics. Like bunnies don't lay eggs. That's not rocket science.
Right.
Right? But they what? They will believe that. They will do that. Where's a person in Christianity, you show them, like, you ask them, listen, show me Easter in the Bible.
Right.
And they can show it to you. And you say, well, here's the deal. You show me Easter in the Bible, I'll follow it. If you can't, you got to disown it and don't follow it. Then the next day we'll celebrate. They will walk around with their kids, bunnies laying eggs. They will do it. Why? Because they really don't believe in the Most High.
God.
So this is what we're dealing with. Yeah. What you got? Go ahead.
Verse 3.
For
they being ignorant of God's righteousness.
They being what?
Ignorant of God's righteousness.
Go ahead.
And going about to establish their own righteousness.
Right. So hopefully this is answering your question. You know, yeah, we say we believe in the one true God. They think they believe in the one true God, but the only way to determine it is if you're doing His will, His righteousness, following His commandments. What you got? No. All right, and I'm saying because that's going to take us in a whole nother, direction where we can go with this all night. Now, I'm trying to let you get your class a little bit. So hopefully that answers that question, that statement that you just made right there. What else? What else we got?
Some person asked, what's the deal with the saints?
The saints. What do you mean? What's the deal with the saints?
Like the Pope and stuff.
Nah, he's talking about like Pope, Saint Francis, you know, all those little saints that they have.
Oh, the
patriarchs.
Oh yeah, they're once again through their error. They err not knowing the truth that we don't supposed to worship the saints. Okay, so first of all, who are the saints?
We the saints.
We are? Y'all is doubtful as hell. Who are the saints?
We the saints.
All right, prove it. So first of all, who are the saints? So the Pope don't get the right. He don't get the right to make you a saint. It don't work like that. Like I'm gonna make you a saint. Like he's the one that makes saints on the earth. Nah. Yeah. Who the hell is he? The Most High made the saints. And who are the saints? Go to Psalms.
Chapter 149, verse 1 and 2.
Go to Psalms 149, 1 and 2. Okay?
Psalms chapter 149, verse 1 and 2.
Right? Psalms 149, 1 and 2. Good questions, though. Go ahead.
And it reads, Praise ye the Lord.
Uh-huh.
Sing unto the Lord a new song.
Uh-huh.
And his praise in the congregation of his saints.
Uh-huh.
Let Israel rejoice in him that made him.
Right.
Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king.
Uh-huh. So, the saints of the Israelites, that was Psalms 149, what?
1 and 2.
1 and 2, right. So, even the children of Israel are the saints. Everybody's not the saints.
Come.
Y'all get that?
Everybody don't work for the Most High.
Yeah,
I said everybody don't work for the Most High.
Yeah, everybody don't work for the Most High. And everybody hasn't been chosen to work for the Most High. So let's get this right. Read it one more time.
Praise ye the Lord. Sing unto the Lord a new song.
Uh-huh.
And praise in the congregation of the saints.
Go ahead.
Let Israel rejoice in him that made him.
Mm-hmm.
Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king.
Right. And what verse you at?
That was the end of 2.
Good. All right. Go to 148 and 14.
148 and verse 14.
So Psalms 149, 1 and 2. And then 148 and 14. Read that.
He also exalted the horn of his people.
Uh-huh.
The praise of all his saints.
Right.
Even of the children of Israel.
Right. So the children of Israel are the saints, not everybody. It's not these other nations. You don't get to anoint some faggot a saint. Some old-ass white man that molested children a saint. Or some Hamite from another... I don't know what they're doing over there. But the children of Israel were saints.
Right.
The law was given to us. The covenants, the contracts. So, once again, what's up with the saints? Well, the first thing they got wrong is that they can anoint anybody a saint and here in this time. And 2, the second part is that you don't supposed to bow to no saints. You don't supposed to bow to no man.
Right.
That's the second point they get wrong. What's up?
No, I'm just thinking about how backwards Esau has it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How he has, literally Esau doing our service, but he's just mad. You know what I'm saying? And our people literally, I think about the Cardinals, how just wasted away they are, how sick they look, how, they look pathetic. But our people literally think these are anointed men of God.
Thank you.
And I was just thinking about that. Yeah, man. Esau is hilarious.
I'm gonna say this though. That's why Israel can't be sick like these heathens. You gotta have the right spirit. It's just like Yeshaya was just saying. You gotta do what you say. You can't be a hypocrite. And that's what's gonna keep us clean as Hebrew Israelites. As we're preaching the word, we're keeping the word, we're doing it. So yeah, man. But yeah, you're right, man. They look sick as hell. You should see some of these popes they set up.
Demons.
Some of these popes they set up and they look like demons, man. So go to Revelations. Just to show you, we don't bow to the saints. We don't bow to angels. We don't bow to none of these nations. Yeah, especially, right? Yeah. So read that. Where you at?
Revelations chapter 19 and verse 10.
Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 19 and verse 10.
Uh-huh.
And I fell on his feet to worship me.
Right.
And he said unto me.
Right. So where are you at again?
Revelation chapter 19 and verse 10.
Right. Read verse 9.
Verse 9. And he saith unto me, right, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb.
Right.
And he saith unto me, These are the true sayings of God.
Right.
And I fell on his feet to worship him.
Right. So he fell on his feet to worship this angel, right? This saint of the Most High. Go ahead.
And he said unto me, see thou do it not.
Go ahead.
I am thy fellow servant.
Right.
And of thy brethren.
See? So now you know what happens when you die and you go before the throne. The Most High might just choose you to be that angel to go do his work. Right? Some part is, you're going to do something, but some part of his work. So these angels that were sent back were our brothers.
Oh, can I?
Y'all get that? Khan?
Khan.
Did you finish?
Wow.
Go ahead.
That have the testimony of Yahushua.
Worship
God.
Do what?
Worship God.
Yeah, we weren't supposed to worship the candle of Santa Maria and the Saint Patrick and Saint Louis. In the Coturan saints of, I don't know.
Veracruz?
Yeah, we weren't supposed to worship these people, man. And these Spaniards, man, they weren't no damn saints. Demons, man. All right, what you got?
Oh, it was on the same point.
Yeah.
It's Revelation 22, verse 8 and 9. But it's showing that John was the one that saw him.
Revelation chapter 22 and verse 8. And I, John, saw these things and heard them. And when I had heard and seen, I fell down to worship before the feet of the angel, which showed me these things.
So showing how John is working for the Most High. He's a servant. But showing also that the angel is doing the same type of work. But at this time, the angel probably has a higher rank than John, a higher position. And John bowing down to the angel. The angel's like, we're going to see, read.
Verse 9. Then saith he unto me, see thou do it not, for I am thy fellow servant.
Read.
And of thy brethren the prophets, and of them which keep the saying of this book, worship God.
So if you think about it, John is worshiping the Most High. John is doing the work of the Most High. He's a prophet.
Right.
And he's not just any prophet. He's one of the prophets that the Most High is allowing him to actually be able to have an interaction with an angel. And John is bound down to the angel, and the angel is showing him, like, nah, don't do it.
He had to check him.
Don't do that.
Had to check him.
So if John ain't doing it, if John wouldn't do it, and John has a higher position than us, what would make you think that we can do it?
Right. Yeah, we're not supposed to be bowing down to angels. We're not supposed to be bowing down. Not, you know, and that don't say you don't give them the respect, because obviously you read in here, he was giving them the respect, but it wasn't for them to bow down as if they were God. Right? Go to Matthew 6 and 9. Go to Matthew 6, verse 9.
Matthew chapter 6 and verse 9.
Y'all gotta know why I went here. Go ahead.
After this manner, therefore, pray ye.
Go ahead.
Our Father, which art in heaven.
Go ahead.
Hallowed be thy name.
Holy be his name.
God.
That's it. Y'all get it?
God.
Holy be his name. You understand that?
God.
And we know Bahasham Yahushua. Right? Meaning in the name of Christ. So, do we pray to Christ? No. We don't even pray to Christ. We pray to the Father in the name of Christ. Because he's the one that gave us grace to get to the Father. Right? But we don't even pray to Christ. We don't say, Christ, give me this, give me that. We say, Yahweh, Baba Kusha, you know, Lord, give me this, give me that, give me what I need, thank you. Bahasham Yahushua, in the name of Christ. So, y'all got to see about this, man. The Most High don't play. There's no other God before him. No other power before him. Okay, holy be his name. Y'all get that?
God.
Go ahead. Where we at?
Oh, did you want this?
Yeah, the one.
It's Colossians chapter. Yeah. It's on that, because you were just saying this.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, go there too.
It's John chapter 14, verse 13.
And this is just showing what in the name of Christ, right?
14 and 13?
All right, yes, sir.
St. John chapter 14 and verse 13. And whatsoever ye shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son.
Right.
Right.
So you see that? You ask in his name, but you're not praying to Christ. A lot of people get that misconception. They think that Christ is on the level of the Most High. Christ never did that. So to put an angel or to put a saint on the level of the Father and to pray to a saint before the Most High, you're out of your dang mind. This is blasphemy. You understand that?
God.
What's that, sis?
And that would be right because the Most High sent his Son, the Word. So if you went way below to a man.
You're going to his Son. You're going to the middleman instead of him. And that's what a lot of people, all praises to the Most High, for Yahweh Shai. He's still Christ. He's still going to be your king. He's still going to be over you. But at the same time, the Most High wants us to praise him in the name of Christ. Y'all get that? Okay. Go from there. Go to Colossians.
Chapter 2 and verse 18.
Colossians chapter 2 and verse 18.
Go ahead and read it.
Let no man beguile you of your reward and the voluntary humility.
Let somebody else read. Zion, you read this one.
Colossians chapter 2 and verse 18.
Go ahead.
Let no man beguile you in your reward in an involuntary humility.
Right. In an involuntary humility. See, so what happens is now you start humbling to these idols. You start humbling to these pictures.
Voluntary.
Involuntary. A lot of people don't know that. They're giving more credit. Well, go look at those street speakers when brothers step on that false image. People be losing their mind. Oh, you stepping on the Son of God. Like, nigga, this is a roach. This is a cockroach. Right? What are you talking about, right? But they go insane as if it was God himself. You see that? They put that image up over God. So when you talk about the Catholics, when you talk about what they believe, you talk about Christianity, they love the lie more than just going to the Bible to say, nah, this is the way we're supposed to do it. They're destroyed. They're destroyed in their knowledge, man. Right. Read on.
Come. Let no man beguile you in your reward in voluntary humility and worshiping of angels.
In worshiping of what?
Angels.
In worshiping of what?
Angels.
So, yeah. And you know what? It wasn't that John was trying to worship him. It was that John was amazed. Let's get that right. Just like Mary, she said, what matter of salutation should this be? Right? When these angels come in their presence and power, you gonna fall down like, oh Lord. Right? He's like, hold on a second. I'm not the Lord. Get up. Right? That's how it is. So, but he wasn't doing it in the sense of I'm gonna worship this. He was doing it in the sense of let me the power that was emanating off of this entity, this angel.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean everybody would.
Yeah.
But what was great about it is the angel humbled himself, said, listen, I'm like you. That was the beautiful thing about it. In his majesty, he was saying, I'm just like you.
Same book.
Right, we coming out of the same book. Right, go ahead. Where you at?
Intruding into those things which he hath not seen.
Right, so you see that? So you got to watch where you get these, because that's what we came from. And that's why a lot of brothers are real technical over it. We have to show them that you can have an image, just don't worship it. You can have a picture, but that picture got to be right, and you can't worship them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, Christianity and Catholics and a lot of these religions, they don't look at it like that. They look at it as, if you we got images up here of the angels of, you know, if you were to step on the picture, you know, made a mistake and the picture fell off, or if you were to even grab it and go crazy, we would look at you like you were crazy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, okay, what do you? It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean nothing to us. It's just an image.
Right.
See, but they go crazy over these images, man. We don't supposed to bow to no angels, no saints, no candles, no rosary beads, no crosses, no images. You know, that's why we had to put brothers in check about the pomegranate, about the lily, or what they call the Star of David. We don't worship that. That's not, just because you use it as a symbol, it don't mean you worship it. All right? Just because you got images don't mean you worship them. So, just putting everything in perspective, man. Finish that.
Vainly puffed up by his fleshly mind.
Right, and that's what they're doing. They're putting all these things before the Most High, and they're vainly puffed up. What else you got?
It's Luke chapter 11 and verse 27.
And finishing off on this topic, let's touch on this Mother Mary. All right?
Come on.
Because Mary's not supposed to be worshipped.
Come on.
All right? You're not supposed to worship his mama. You know what I mean? The black man always want to worship their mama first.
Right, like Drake.
You know what I mean?
Mama. What did you say?
With their mama.
Right.
Only thing I love
Right.
is my mom.
Right.
like, there's another thing in the video. He was like, yeah, you just got to make sure your mama's good. I'm like, what happened to the pops, though?
Yeah, that's
garbage.
like, and there's nothing wrong with loving your mom. It's just saying they put them over the father. Like, the dad's the one did all the work. I'm just messing with you. No, they both did work, but, you know, they never give that power to the man. You know, but back to the point, we're not supposed to worship the Mother Mary. Read this.
Luke chapter 11 and verse 27. And it came to pass, as he spake these things, a certain woman of the company lifted up her voice and said unto him, Blessed is the womb that bare thee, and the paps which thou hast sucked.
Yeah, you can imagine it. You can imagine that Israelite woman and the black woman. Oh, yeah. Whoa, bless the Lord! Right? You can hear her screaming this out. Okay. Go ahead.
28. But he said, yea, rather.
He said, yeah, okay. Rather, instead of my mama, go ahead.
Blessed are they that hear the word of God and keep it.
Yeah, he didn't worship his mom. Know what I mean? He didn't worship his mom. That goes back to idolatry. That goes back to Babylonian custom, Semiramis.
Right.
And she was lifted up as the mother of Nimrod, and she became this and all that. And I mean, I got to get my 2 Babylons, but that's all idolatry. Right? It's not even Christian. How about that? You want to use this word, Christian? Christian means followers of Christ. The apostles were first called Christians, in Antioch? Antioch, right? And they were following Christ. What they got as Christianity today is garbage. But the true Christians follow Christ. They didn't follow their mom, Christ's mama. Yeah.
Could you use Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 14 through 16?
So y'all get that, right? Con?
Con.
All right. Deuteronomy 4. Verse 14?
I got it. Deuteronomy.
Hold on 1 second. You saying you use this for this point where I'm?
Could you,
Oh, I'm in the wrong. I'm in 5. Yeah, go ahead, read it.
Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 14.
And
the Lord commanded me at that time to teach you statutes. Statutes. Judgments, that ye might do them in the land whether you go over to possess it.
Read.
Take ye therefore good heed unto yourselves, for ye saw no manner of similitude on the day that the Lord spake unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire.
Go ahead.
Lest ye corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female.
So you see that? I didn't give you any image, so you won't corrupt yourself and start worshiping that image. Y'all see that? So, you know, and we know he had a mom, we know he had a dad, but you weren't supposed to serve them. Y'all got that? Okay. All right. So hopefully that weighs in on that one right there. What else we got on here?
It's just comments.
Yeah. All right. So I mean, if y'all have no other questions online, we're gonna go ahead and go into this class tonight. I'll give y'all a few seconds. If not, remember, Shabbat morning class, we do the same thing. We answer questions, but we do the reading, the Sabbath morning reading. Okay? So if your kids need to get those readings down, you know, we also go over some Hebrew Shabbat morning also. You can get them in Sabbath morning class. All right? So give them a few seconds, and then we can go into this topic tonight. All right. Anybody had anything in here? No questions on anything? None? Y'all been studying? Con? I don't hear everybody. Lamont, you there? Y'all been studying?
Con.
Yeah, y'all got to study, man. Y'all got to make sure y'all in the book. Y'all should be asking questions. Everybody online. Yeah, you see how many questions we get online. Why? Because they don't know, and they're not afraid to ask. So just ask. I mean, y'all know how to ask. Y'all not belligerent and beastly. Okay, so nobody has any questions. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and go into tonight's topic.
All right. Somebody give me Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 6. And I like the last question that we just answered because it goes into... It's going to go into the class. It's going to go into the class and show how our leaders, our pastors, our preachers, how they led us astray. And they led us astray simply by not doing what they preach, by not practicing what they preach, being hypocrites. Because that's what all the pastors are known for. That's why people are turned off from the Bible. Lamar, get that. Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 6. That's why people are... What's up, Bree?
What's the topic?
The topic is... You know better. You know better. Read that. Verse 6. Jeremiah 50, verse 6.
Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 6. My people have been lost sheep.
So as you can see at your jobs, your schools, your day-to-day life, our people's lost. Completely lost. You were once lost. But luckily the Most High had His grace, He had His love for you, and He woke you up. But as you can see on TV, on the radio, just walking it, just driving and looking down the street, looking at our people at the bus stops, they're lost. The other night, driving to get the laptop last night, we were driving down BeachNet, and we saw kids. Remember those kids that we talked to? There's some that's even younger. They're like Benaya's age.
They're probably living on the street.
God, it's like the brother that comes in here and he sells the candy.
Yeah. No parents, no guidance, no leadership.
So our people's lost completely. Read.
Their shepherds have caused them to go astray.
And our shepherds are leaders. They caused us to go astray. They're the number one reason why we got destroyed. One of the biggest reasons. And it's like what we were just going into with the Catholicism.
Yeah.
Had to say that word right. But the Catholicism and the idols and worship and bowing down to these things and the holidays and Christmas and all that garbage, when you show it to our people, they don't care. Mm-hmm. They rather believe the falsehood. And they don't see that if they just came back, you're showing them actually out of the book, and their conscience is seared with a hot iron. You can't change them. But it's because of read that part again.
their shepherds have caused them to go astray.
Why? Because if you're a sheep, you trust in your shepherd. And when your shepherd calls you to go astray, worse, you don't even realize it. That's all you know is your shepherd. And all our people have known since slavery is what we've been given.
Yep.
And since coming up, our pastors, our leaders, they don't practice anything they preach. They don't practice anything they read. And it destroys us. And we can't let that happen. Because as we can see now, the Most High is taking us out of that estate and bringing us back to Him. So now, being elders, being elder brothers, elder sisters, we can't make the mistakes that our forefathers made. And worse, we can't make the same mistakes that these preachers and these pastors have made.
Right.
Because what's the difference? There is no difference if we're not practicing what we preach.
It should be. And that's the thing about this point, this topic, is that you have to see why you're getting it and how far of a rift it has to be from what we learned in church. You see that? That's why it's a constant cleansing, or you're just going to be just like the people you're talking about. Scriptures say you being a castaway, you're going to be a castaway just like they're castaways. So, but think about what it takes to do that. You know, we've been talking about that recently, about being blameless. You had to almost be blameless and be perfect. Now, no one's perfect, but we're striving for perfection, right? So think about how much you're going to have to be on yourself to be blameless, to put a separation between the clean and the unclean. How much humility, you're going to have to put this separation. Because what is it that the churches don't have? They don't got no humility. Go ahead and talk to any religion. And this is why we got to watch it. Talk to any religion. Everybody want to argue their point. But nobody is, like, even on a basic level, if you deal with a Christian and you show them out of the Bible where Christmas is false, they would sit there instead of reading it and saying, wait a minute, let me consider, right, what the Bible's saying. They want to argue the point. So we can't be like that, man. We got to see that there's got to be a rift between us and them. Go ahead.
There's separation.
Yeah, a big one.
My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains.
So our shepherds, our past leaders, they made us turn to the mountains. What does the mountains represent? Back in the days, you can read Chronicles. You'll see this king did righteously. He removed the groves from the high places, the idols from the high places. So when it says they have turned them away on the mountains, these shepherds we have now, they turned us away to Christianity, Catholicism, baptism, Jehovah's Witness, and this destroyed our people. Since slavery till now, if that stuff was working, why are we still in this condition? Why is it that everybody else comes up and we don't?
Why is there no unity? There's no unity of the people. You know, and yeah, there's gonna be heresies, but at the same time, it was created because selfish leaders geared towards their benefit and towards what they want. Yeah.
So I'm not following the part where he is defining what the mountains represent.
The mountains meaning that what did we do on those mountains?
Worship.
We worship other what?
Idols.
Other gods, right? So what they did is turned us away to go to the worshiping the other gods, other philosophies, other doctrines, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, and also we follow the mountains represents different nations as well.
Yeah.
So they turned us aside to these different Gentiles, and the Gentiles that was their thing. Idol worshiping. Keep reading.
They have gone from mountain to hill.
Read.
They have forgotten their resting place.
And our resting place is the Most High. It says we forgot all about the Most High. That's why it says the ox knows his owner, the
ass his master's crib. But Israel doeth not know, they doeth not consider.
We don't consider it all. And like you were saying, even if we show somebody through the scriptures, they don't even consider it. That they're so far gone, but that's why we, like you were saying, there has to be a clear-cut difference. We have to be the example. We have to be that light.
Yeah, and you know, that's why you have to fight that much more. Because we're in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation. You got to separate, like the scriptures say, separating light from darkness is adamant. It got to be like, you know, just like the brother asked, you know, if I can go do this on the Sabbath. Well, the thing is that why? You know what I mean? Why would you want to go do that coming into the truth, coming into the knowledge? You're supposed to be trying to get this now. You led that life. You lived that life. Right? What does your family need to see? What does your nation need to see? What does your children need to see? They need to see you drastically in the Word. You know, just like, you know, when we sit down and we study and we learn this knowledge, and for you brothers and sisters at home, if your kid always sees you sitting down and reading, they're going to walk over to you and be like, what you reading? If they always see you on your iPad playing I don't know, what's the new games? Temple Run, whatever. You're playing Temple Run or some video game on your phone, they're going to walk over to you and say, well, what are you doing? Right? So the separation is going to be made as you start diving in and showing that, no, I'm different now. And a lot of people don't see that. Just to the point you're making.
You know what else is crazy too? Because when you think about it, you're like, damn, that's a lot of pressure. But we can't be scared.
Yeah.
We can't be scared to take that pressure on, to try to strive to be perfect.
Right. Yeah.
We can't be scared of that because our people need it. Verse 7, hit that.
Verse 7, all that found them have devoured them.
And this is why we can't be scared, because they're out there being devoured. So when you step into a leadership role, when you're becoming an elder, you can't let your good be evil spoken of. You got to actually show the people, because you can tell them all they want, but if you go through something and
you live by it, and you live it by it or you don't, and people are going to see that. You know, whether you following it or not, they're going to see, okay, well, you're living by this, it's working for you. And that's what a lot of people are watching now. How has this work, this knowledge, this word worked for you for all the years of your life? You know, and yeah, our people have a tendency to try to always look at the weak. They won't look at the strong, but they'll look at the weak, and that's a problem too. But you still got to be the example of the strength, because the weak is just going to fall out anyway. Y'all get that? All right, go ahead.
Jump to Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 15. Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 15. Remember, the Most High is a man of Lord. The Most High is a man of war. I'm sorry, I said Lord. But the Most High is going to try us. Read that.
Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 15. The ancient and honorable, he is the head.
But why is the ancient and the honorable become the head? Yeah, he's ancient. He has the experience and he has the wisdom. But how did he get his honor to become honorable? It's because he's been proved by it. He practiced what he preached. Whatever he was preaching as an ancient man to his family, to his friends, to his nation.
You know, before, you know, I know you're pointing on this ancient man, but before you even get there, as you're a young man, you know, as you're coming up, when it says when you ought to be teachers, you need someone teach you. Well, what is it that they're going to look at? Right? Because it says, let no man despise thy youth. Right? Well, how is he going to get to this elder if you haven't in your youth learned to follow what you preach, or to be an example? Y'all see that? So it starts from you being a babe, right? Your kids are going to see you. They're going to look at your example. The daughters are going to look at the daughters of Zion. The boys are going to look at the men of Zion, and they're going to follow what you do. So, you know, a lot of people think, well, I can be this way around brothers and sisters, and I can go home and be a niggard. Well, then your kids are going to be little nigglets. running around like little gremlins. So you got to be conscious of yourself. You see how much work and how much things are put on us? Con? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work that we have to do, man. And it's serious business. Yeah, it's the Most High business. This ain't no part-time.
It don't get no better, though.
Church. It's serious business, and it takes you working daily to be perfect, to strive for perfection. Go ahead.
Read.
He is the head, and the prophet that teacheth lies, he is the tail.
So yeah, if you're not living up to what you're preaching, the Most High will bring you down. Because the Most High is the one that lifts up, he exalts, and he abases. So if you're not doing what you know you're supposed to be doing, you're going to become the tail pretty quickly. Really quick. That's why it says, thou which thou have, give unto faithful men.
That which thou have, give unto faithful men. 2 Timothy 2, right?
God, we're going to hit that. But if you're not faithful, that's how you become the tail. Read verse 16.
Verse 16. For the leaders of this people cause them to err.
And that's what's happened with us, man. That's why we're in the situation we're in. That's why we're in the ghettos and the slums. We don't know how to get out of it. It's literally become a trap. The wives don't know how to be mothers or wives to their husbands. The fathers don't know how to be fathers or husbands to their wives.
Yeah.
It's just complete chaos.
Because you teach your kids don't lie, but you're a liar. You know what I mean? Don't lie, boy. But Kris Kringle's gonna come down your chimney.
It's like that famous saying.
Yeah, Chris. Don't lie, boy, but the bunnies lay eggs. Don't lie, boy, but the tooth fairy's gonna leave you some under your pillow.
Yeah.
Don't lie, boy, but go listen and love the lies that the white man tell you. But don't come to me with those lies. Like you taught them the whole time instead of establishing the right example. You know, so it starts with us. Remember, the Most High say we're a nation of kings and priests. So us as kings and priests, it's not only the Levites no more. It's you, all the tribes, from Judah to Issachar, that we have to start stepping up in this priestly office. And the point he's talking about tonight is that you're accountable. You're accountable for what you know. You're going to be accountable for sitting here. You can play all the I didn't really know what's going on. I didn't really hear those scriptures. It don't work like that. You're accountable for what you know. When you were in ignorance, that was fine. The Most High said he winked at you, right? But now he says he calls all men and women unto repentance. So you got to understand, as we're talking about, he's pointing out this part about being an example, whether your example affecting people if it's hypocritical. Why? Because you're accountable for that. You're accountable for what you do, so you have to really understand this. And if you ain't over, I know you've been pointing about elder, but what about just in your household? You're accountable for that. And isn't that a lot of how households fall? You want your rib to be calm, collective, with wisdom, but you're what? Sporadic, irrational, right? You're not a thinker. She's going to be just like you, right? You want your kids to be like that, you'll whoop the hell out of them, but you're not showing them that example. So you see how you need to practice what you preach? See, it ain't just one arena. Y'all have to see this. So read that scripture again.
Isaiah chapter 9, verse 16. For the leaders of this people cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed.
Yeah, because remember, he's touching on the priests out there. But they don't have an effect on us no more. So how do we apply this to us in here? Right? You're a priest, I'm a priest, we're all priests in here. So how do we affect ourselves? Are you still causing to err? Are you still causing your rib, your household, your children? And then when you get in this position, are you watching your example? You see how it doesn't let up? You can't act like, oh, I'm not accountable. I'm not up there on the podium. Right. Please stop it. You're accountable every time where you're at home and not using wisdom with your wife. You're causing her to err. You're causing the little ones to err. Y'all see that? You're the leader. We know about them out there. They did their job. Through the desire of ignorance and money and lack of knowledge and selfishness, they cause our nation to go astray. But we can't keep blaming it on them. You got the truth now. What are we doing with it? Y'all get this?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to go into with the first two scriptures.
Yeah.
It's about how, yeah, we came out of that, but now the Most High has given us this office.
Yeah.
So with the Most High giving us this office, it's more, it's more, how do I put it, more serious. Mm-hmm. Because out there, yeah, they're already destroyed. But now the Most High has given us the office to bring them back.
Right.
So now you really have to be more on top of yourself. Because like I was going to say, wisdom makes you accountable. Mm-hmm. So you have to be that example. You have to be that light. People can't just see you talk about it. You gotta show them.
Yeah. You
have to show them. Because I can say all I want to say.
Yeah.
But if you don't see me do it,
yeah,
then it's gonna be like, what the hell? You were already lost out there because they didn't do it, and now you come here and it's supposed to be the truth, and it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So the microscope is really, it's on you, but it's good. It's really good. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 19 and verse 24. Chapter 19 and verse 24. Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes chapter 19 and verse 24. He that hath small understanding and feareth God is better than one that hath much wisdom and transgresses the law of the Most High.
So if you know the word, if you've been taught, you've been taught how to deal with your kids, you've been taught how to deal with your husband the proper way, you've been taught how to deal with your wife, your younger brothers and sisters, your family, your brothers and sisters, you've been taught, and you're not doing it, you're transgressing. That person that doesn't know as of yet, that's trying their best to implement those things, in the Most High's eyes, that person's better. That person's better than you. Why? Because that person's actually practicing what they preach. The little that they've been given, they're faithful with it. Mm-hmm. They're faithful with that little bit that they've been given from the Most High. So the Most High is going to bring them up. They're more humble to actually do it.
Right. So in turn, you know what I like about this scripture is showing, see, you can't say, well, I'm this person. You know, we use the example of giving a prophet a cup of water, right? You figure, I'm this small person, I'm insignificant. You're seeing that you're not really insignificant. You're important in everything you do. So you can't just say, oh, you know what? The Most High is not looking at me. I'm not nobody. You're important. You're the wives. A lot of women do that too. Well, I just got to be at home. Man, you are the foundation of the household. The scriptures say you're the pillar. You're the pillar that holds up the house. It says a wise woman buildeth her house. But what if in her mind she's saying, well, I'm not important? This shows you. Read that one more time.
Ecclesiastes chapter 19 verse 24. He that hath small understanding and feareth God is better than one that hath much wisdom and transgresseth the law of the Most High.
Yeah, so this, like the scripture says, like he was breaking down, it's a person that might think he's small in understanding, but he's following according to that. Y'all see that? He's better than, that's why I said, you got all these people that know a million scriptures, 1,000 breakdowns, but they won't follow nothing. You know what I mean? They won't love, they won't love thy brother as thyself. They don't follow that one. But because they got a lot of scriptures, they figure, oh, I know That's what they're justified in. And that's wrong. And that's where the lack of charity and real love is in, because you don't really realize, man, that your importance to the body, to the family, to your household, to your nation. You're important. The things you do are important. Y'all get that? Y'all got to really see this, man, because a lot of Israelites try to play it off like as though, oh, I'm just coming to class. I'm not that serious about this. You're accountable. You know what I mean? You sit in all these classes and act like, well, I only been coming to class for a little bit. I don't really have to carry myself to this standard. Yeah, you do. You have to fight just like the next man.
Your nation depends on
Yeah, your nation and the separation of what it's doing to the people out there. When I say people out there, meaning all the ignorance, all the lies, all the falsehood. The Most High is showing that you're the light of the world. All right, go ahead.
Jump to Romans chapter 10 and verse 13. And you can throw this one in there. It's Mark chapter 4 verse 14. It says, the sower soweth the word, right? Now we're all sowers to each other. Excuse me? So Mark chapter 4 verse 14. But we're going to read Romans 10 and 13. Mark chapter 4 verse 14. It just says the sower sows the word. So if you're sowing, if you're counseling somebody, if you're helping somebody, you're teaching them, you're sowing the word. But how do you correctly sow something? How do you correctly sow the word? You can just show them. You can just read it to them. You can do it that way, or you can do it more of a more efficient way, where you can show them, you can break it down, you can make it relevant to their lives, show them what they need to do, how they need to do it. But the biggest thing that you can do is show them yourself.
Right.
When they look at you,
right,
and they see you actually doing it, then
exactly
that gives them hope.
You know, we have a theme, you know, that's been since the 70s. Some of these old school cats might remember this, but we would always say, you learn it, you live it, and you apply it. You learn it, live it, and apply it. And those are the things that have to take on a mind when they come in the truth. I'm learning it, getting the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Then I start living it. And living it, I'm applying it. And in applying it, you're affecting everybody around you. So, you know, if you're a nation of kings and priests, how are you affecting all the other nations? How are you affecting your brothers and sisters? Y'all get this? Go ahead.
All right, read that. Romans chapter 10, verse 13.
For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved.
Right? That's what they make that scripture right there seem so like that's all you got to do. Right? Look at Aaron Hernandez. He killed 2 or 3 people, like they said. Then he committed suicide. But then he wrote John 3:16 on his head. And he thought he was going to get saved. If you think about it, it's like I could go and just, like that school shooter in Florida. He killed those 17 people, and all he has to do is just call upon the name of the Lord, and that's it.
Right.
That's why we're here. Read verse 14.
Verse 14. How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed?
How, if your actions are contrary to the Most High, Yahweh Shai, how can you call? How can you call on the name of Yahweh Shai?
Right. How are people going to see what to call on?
God.
And it goes back to your first point, is that the people don't know what to call on because religion has led us astray.
God.
And now they add insult to injury, meaning that in the lies, they fortified themselves.
God.
So where you're a Hebrew Israelite. You call yourself a man of God. You call yourself a woman of God. What is going to separate you? Right? That takes, you know what? Go to Romans real quick. Hold that where you're at. Romans, go jump over to 3. Real quick. We'll jump back. Go to 3 and go to Romans 3. Hold on 1 second. It might be 7. Oh, you're going there?
Yes.
Yeah, it's what,
It's
7?
coming up.
It's, what is it, 7?
It's Romans 2.
It's okay. All right, go to Romans 3. I'm going to let you get that one.
No, it's Romans 2. That one?
Yeah, the one you wanted?
No, the one you just said.
Romans 2 and... Yeah, Romans 2 and 22.
Yeah.
Romans chapter 2
2 and
verse
21.
22.
2 and 21. Read that.
21.
Uh-huh.
Because that, when they knew God, they glorified him
Romans 2, verse 21.
not. Romans chapter 2 and verse 21. Though therefore which... Though therefore... Thou therefore, which teachest another, teachest thou not thyself?
Right. Go ahead.
Though that preachest a man should not steal,
right?
Dost thou steal?
Right.
Thou that sayest a man should not commit adultery, dost thou commit adultery?
Right. So this is obviously Paul is checking these brothers and sisters and reminding them about their example. Are you doing it, and are you telling others not to?
Right.
Y'all see that? Now this is on every level. Remember, not only to the teacher, but also to the student, to the husband, to the wife. Right? Go ahead.
Dost thou commit adultery?
Go ahead.
Though that abhorrest idols? Dost thou commit sacrilege?
Right. Are you doing this? Right? Are you doing the things that you're telling them to stay away from? Go ahead.
Verse 23.
Though
thou makest thy boast of the law.
Right.
Through breaking the law, dishonoreth thou God.
See, and that's why you got to teach them the understanding of the law. Because somebody that lacks understanding, if you teach them, they got to sit. Think about it. If you teach them they got to sit down at home on the Sabbath, and then they see you out on the Sabbath, what are they going to think? They're going to think, well, you're out on the Sabbath. If you teach them they got to sit down at home and they can't cook their food, and then they read Christ went and picked corn on the Sabbath, what are they going to think? They're going to think something's wrong here. Y'all understand that? The example's not matching up. So the scriptures are showing us your example has to match up to what you're saying. Go ahead.
24. For the name of God is blasphemed among the Gentiles through you.
And a lot of nations. That's why we talk about when you go online, when you go on street speaking, you know what I mean? How do you look? What is the perception of you on street speaking? Are you this belligerent, tyrant, lost it, psychopath? Or are you an example to the nations, to the world? A man and a woman with wisdom and understanding. But I don't want to just take it there. Because really, we can always, we're not talking about brothers and sisters, not necessarily out there street speaking. We're talking about brothers and sisters doing the work in here. Brothers and sisters that know better and they're not doing it. You understand? We're talking about you looking at yourself and saying amongst yourself, yeah, you're talking about this sister, this brother, but are you the same way? You understand that? The nations see that. The world sees that. Y'all get that? The world sees what we're doing. Why does it say the name of the Most High is blasphemed amongst the Gentiles? Because all the nations are supposed to look at us and say, wow, this is a wise and understanding people. One that feareth the Most High, right? But do they see that a lot of the time? Why? Because the standard, the example that's being shown. Y'all get that? Go ahead.
Verse 25. For circumcision very profiteth.
Right.
If thou keep the law.
Right. So, yeah, you're talking about you're in the law, and you're a lawgiver, you're a law keeper, right? You're talking about you're a righteous man, you're a righteous woman, but you see how much more you got to be on your example, or it's just for nothing. See, so yeah, I know it's hard. I know you're like, damn, well, I can't make no mistakes. Like we said the other day, like the scriptures say, no, you got to be blameless. That's why you're correcting your rib on something, and she's like looking at you like, what? Well, the other day you went and did this and this and that. That's why it says teach her not a what?
Evil lesson.
Why? Because she'll come back.
Quick.
The same thing with the wife and the kids. You'll be like, yeah, you guys got to do your homework. You got to listen to me. You got to obey me. You get frustrated with them. And they're like, well, Mom, you get frustrated with Dad all the time. You get flustered and angry and winded with Father all the time. That's what they're thinking, right? So your example got to be there. It can't just be, oh, because I believe and I can cut you with scriptures, that makes me an example. It don't work like that. You're just good with verses, but where's your actions? Go ahead.
But if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision.
Yeah, if you're going against what you supposedly believe in, then it's no profit in what you're doing. That's why Paul had to check them. Because, listen, that's what they were doing back then, if y'all don't get what's going on here. They were doing the same thing back then. They were making all these claims how they were the lawgivers and they were flying high with the law. And he was like, you breaking the law. What are you talking about? Go ahead, read.
Verse 26.
Go ahead.
Therefore, if the uncircumcision kept the righteousness of the law, shall not uncircumcision be counted for circumcision?
Right. So like he said earlier, it could be that person, it could be that individual, like the scripture said earlier, that has a little knowledge. And they're what? They're fighting. They're watching themselves. They're beating up their conscience. You get a lot of brothers that's like, damn, I messed up again. But then you got a guy, a sister, a brother that has all these scriptures and what? They're not watching the little things they do. They're not watching how they affect people around them. See? Example. It don't matter how many scriptures you got. It matters how you use what you do have. Right. How you're sincere to what you do have. Go ahead.
Verse 27.
Go ahead.
And shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature, if it fulfill the law, judge thee.
Go ahead.
Who by the letter of circumcision does transgress the law.
Right. Y'all get that, right? Do y'all get that? It could be a person that come in that ain't even got circumcised yet. I'll use the example of the scriptures. Don't even know that they need to be cut. But they're sincere to get it done. They're ready to get it done. And you could be the brother that been here 10 years and what? You still know, you know the will of the Most High, you know the commandments, you know what you need to be doing, but you won't do it. You got all this knowledge, right? So who's more accountable? Y'all see this? So, but this is what we are to the nations, man. We're the example. We are that to our wives, the husbands, to the children. We're this to the world. You're the light of the world. But it starts with you checking yourself. Stop worrying about everybody else. Check yourself. And in that, you will be the example. A lot of times the problem is what? You're looking at somebody else, complaining about it. Complaining about what somebody else is not doing. And you won't look at your inward man. And that's what he's going to go on and talk about. Go ahead.
Verse 28. For he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly.
So there you go. He's like, yeah, you know the Bible, you know the law, Khan, Hamashiach, you know the scriptures. You get on Facebook and act like you're all righteous. You quote all this stuff, and it's like, shut up. I hate Facebook now. I hate Facebook. Like, it'd be so much BS on there. It'd be fake niggas on there acting like they're real, and they're not. It'd be cats that came in a year, and they just like, they don't know what the hell they talking about. They won't even follow what the hell they talking about. But because you don't know them, they can talk on there. But are you outwardly what you're saying? Are you doing what you're saying? Are you practicing what you preach? Right?
God.
You already were born a Hebrew Israelite. But you act like a heathen. Right? And that's what we got to be teaching our children, man. This is what we have. Man, I talk about this all the time. How many classes have you sat in about prayer, about fasting, about keeping the law? And you go and you can't go pray. then what happens? You teach your kids not to pray. You teach your kids not to follow the law. Y'all see that? Go ahead.
Neither is that circumcision which is outward in the flesh.
Yeah, so it's not about your physical. It's not about your outward appearance. It's not about your t-shirt. You know what I mean? It's not about that. Or what you got on your shirt. It's about what example are you holding up. Go ahead.
Verse 29.
Uh-huh.
But he is a Jew, which is one inwardly.
Are you working on yourself so outwardly it can be shown? And that's how you know. How do you know if a person is working on themselves? Because they can see it through the example. Through the customs this individual does. Right? Around their wives, around their kids, around their brothers, around their sisters, around their nation. And that's why it goes, when you go back to Deuteronomy 4 and 6, this is your wisdom in sight of all the nations. They were supposed to see that. Yes, even the nations. They were supposed to see that this is a wise and understanding people.
Right.
Y'all get that? Now how much more your children, your wife? Y'all get this? Man, because this is an important topic. Come on.
In the spirit. And not in the letter.
Not in the letter. Go ahead.
Whose praise is not of men, but of God.
But of the Most High. Y'all see that? All right, where we at?
Let's jump to Zechariah chapter 8, verse 23. And another brother give me 1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 13.
Yeah.
Give me that Zechariah 8 verse 23.
Zechariah chapter 8 and verse 23. Thus said the Lord of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold out of all language. Can I start over, please?
Yes, please.
Zechariah chapter 8, verse 23. Thus said the Lord of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold out of all languages of the nation, even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, saying, we will go with you, and we will have heard, for we have heard.
Oh, somebody else pick up. Come on.
We have heard that God is with you.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
right.
read it from the top.
Right, read.
Zechariah chapter 8 and verse 23. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold out of all languages of the nations.
Right, so 10 men. So what is it saying? It's saying that a lot of these other nations are going to cleave to us. They're going to cleave to us how? Through our example. They're going to look at your character. They're going to look at your customs. They're going to look at how you act. Go ahead.
Even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew.
Right.
Saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that God is with you.
And that's why. How do you think they know that God is with us?
I was going to say because of our example.
Yeah, they see how we carry ourselves.
It ain't because how many scriptures you know.
Your beauty.
It ain't that, because there's a lot of Israelites that know the Bible. They're going to look at your character. You know, that's why when we walk the streets, when we do what we do, you brothers and sisters online, there's so much belligerently and madness going on online. You're going to be separated through your example and your character. Not to be blazing them up and bashing them and all those things, but really going in and showing them the scriptures. Yeah.
I was going to say, the Most High blesses us when our example is right. He blesses that, and they see the blessings that we get.
Right.
Through our walk and through our example. That's coming from the Most High. That's not coming from a man. That's coming from the Most High.
Right.
God, even when you talk with them, when you talk with them at your jobs, you talk with them at school, they see the difference. When we talk with people at EO, people come to EO just to counsel with us.
And I'm going to say this because we're talking about example, but how many times somebody ran up to you and say, well, are y'all not with these cats, right? Why? because when he talked to these cats, they're belligerent. They're like, damn, they didn't even give me a time to talk. You know what I mean? They interrupted me. When we were trying to get in this conversation, it was almost like everything had to be a battle and a fight. And they haven't been taught how to speak with wisdom. They've been taught, here, you got the Bible, go, run. Yeah, and you're just like, yeah, shut up. You smell. It's like, they don't know how to really communicate. Not all that, but I mean, something to that level. You know, you don't even get them. You don't get the character of a believer. You get a brute thug at a lot of times. And I'm not saying everybody's like that, but there's got to be a separation. You know, and it's still being the austere, hard, bold, righteous man, but with wisdom and understanding. Same thing with the sisters. You know, a real character, man. Go ahead.
Okay. Jump to 1 Samuel 16, verse 13. And one point that I wanted to make in the Zechariah chapter 8, verse 23, was that it says the Most High was with you. The Gentiles, the nations, they see that the Most High is with us. But see, the Most High can leave you too. Read that, 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 13.
Then Samuel took the horn of the oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren.
Speaking of David, so Samuel took the oil and anointed David. Read.
And the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward.
Read.
So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul.
So this is one thing that can happen to us. We're that servant that was given much. Remember it says, much shall the Most High will take it. I know I butchered the scripture. We're actually going to go into that scripture. But showing the Most High took the Spirit from Saul. And remember, there was a time when they thought Saul was among the prophets. Because he was prophesying.
Right.
Saul had the Spirit of the Most High on him. But the Most High took it from him. And the Most High can take that Spirit from you.
Yeah.
But one reason the Most High took that Spirit was from Saul.
And it will be taken from you if you're a hypocrite. It will be taken from you if you're not following the example. It will be taken from you, you know, if you're saying one thing and doing another thing. Y'all get that? Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 2. Read verse 14 again.
But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and all evil and an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him.
So when the Most High removes his spirit from you, now you have an evil spirit on you. Because if the Most High ain't with you, then who's with you? Satan. Can two walk together unless they agree? So it's like if the Most High don't see your actions living up to what you're speaking, the Most High is going to take his spirit from you. And then the Most High takes his spirit from you, what happens? 7 more evil spirits come in.
Yeah. Yeah, jump to Job 27 and 8 real quick, and then we're going to jump back. Just real quick. So, if y'all not getting it right now, this is going over, you're going to be accountable for what you know. You have to practice what you preach. Y'all understand that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, read that.
Job 27 and verse 8. For what is the hope of a hypocrite?
Right.
Though he have gained, when Yahweh taketh away his soul.
Yeah, so, and that's the thing, that you got to be an example. You have to be an example. You have to be an example for your kids, your household, your family, your nation. What is the difference between us and Christianity and whatever all religions? That we're walking the walk. That we walk the path and we're doing the works. Right?
God.
Now, I know y'all saying, God dang, y'all going in on this one. But you know what? I'll put it like this. The Most High knows you're not perfect, but you still got to fight. You understand? We still got to fight. Yeah, you're going to mess up, but you still have to fight. We're fighting. You understand? It says strive for the truth unto what?
Death.
So if you fall, do what? Get the hell back up.
All right, roll over, get up.
See, don't get it twisted. The scriptures, nor are we saying that if you make a mistake, you're being a hypocrite. That's not what the scriptures teach. what we're saying and what the scripture's saying is that be real, right? You can't push it, be hard, be this gun-ho Hebrew Israelite, and then go against your own principles. You understand? You will make mistakes, but did you forfeit your principles? Y'all get that? And you will lessen the mistakes if you don't forfeit your own principles. And say, wait a minute, nah, that's not right. That's not the example. That's not the custom. Right? See, but a lot of time you forfeit your principles, man, and you become a what? You become a hypocrite. Same thing you were saying to everybody else, you yourself, you're not doing. Y'all get this? What's up?
Ecclesiastes 10 and 2.
Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 2.
And you know, another thing, even, we're not perfect. So even when you fall, you still have that opportunity to show somebody good.
Right.
Because when you fall, you can show them, I fell, but my integrity is still intact.
Yeah, I fell, but my fall is through stupidity.
God.
It's not through me being an evil, wicked person. It's through my lack of knowledge. You know, because even in your fall, like you said, some people can show that much more they're wicked.
Right.
How many people, you know, they make mistakes and then they get more negative when you try to correct them. They get more evil. They get more prideful. It's like, wait a minute, but I thought you, listen, I ain't gonna lie. There's been brothers we've dealt with over and over again. It's like they go through the ranks, they get to this position, and then I guess they figure like they don't gotta uphold the standard no more. They don't gotta do no more work. You get brothers like that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of new brothers that just make sure they don't even step in that arena. But before in the past, there's been brothers that I'm gonna go through the ranks. I'm gonna show humility all the way up till I get to this rank, and then what? When I get to this position, now I'm gonna switch on you. It's like, wow. You understand? So you got to see that. You got to maintain your integrity. You know what I mean? Like, you got to know what you've been preaching, because you yourself will be a castaway. Y'all get that? This is important, man. And, I don't want to leave it in this higher realm of, teaching and that level, because when you bring it down to the household, to the family, to the husband, the wife, the kids, you got to see how much it's needed for in the smaller areas, that it's the same thing. It's no different. Your example needs to stand in all areas. Y'all get that? Yeah, I'm saying that because we're talking about, level of teachers and things of that nature. Right. But this class really is not about that.
Right.
It's about you brothers and sisters, man, holding the standard wherever you're at. I don't care if you're an officer of 50. You know what I mean? Do what you're supposed to do according to the Spirit. I don't care if you're coming in and just learning the law. Well, according to what you learned, are you following that and trying to build on? Right? So this is why a lot of times you got to shut your mouth. A lot of people are, man, so quick when they come in to throw stones at everybody else, and they themselves haven't got it together. How many of us did that? You know what I mean? Like, you come in, you learn, you come in, you learn you're a Hebrew Israelite, you learn you don't eat pork, but you're not doing any other 50,000 things, and then people are looking at you like, right, yeah, you're a Hebrew Israelite, you don't eat pork, but you're over here, you're still smoking cigarettes. You went off about me on Christmas, and you're what? You smell like you've been smoking weed.
Right.
Yeah.
You see? What should be none of us in here with those examples, but y'all get it. Yeah, you get all people that are like that. Yeah.
No, because even with that, I'm thinking about our example and how they look at us, because they really even look even harder at us.
Yeah.
When we have this standard.
Yeah.
But then we don't live by it. It's like, are they ready to ravage on you?
Yeah.
It's like, nah, this cat right here is awkward, or not awkward, but just not being true to what he says.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And it doesn't. It be the ones that they ain't even true to what they're saying.
Right.
That will try to stone you. So you gotta be. That's why you gotta be on point, man. Yeah.
When I first started coming to class, I had like the same situation with my mom. I went out to lunch with her, and I told her, I told the waitress that I don't eat pork anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't want bacon on my salad or She's like, don't let nobody tell you one commandment, they don't tell you the rest.
Right.
But I didn't lash out on my mom or nothing, but I was thinking, like, Mom, you still smoke cigarettes. Like,
right. Like, how you telling me about the laws or anything, but you dealt with it the right way.
Right.
Like, okay, yeah, all right. And move on. Why? Because you were still learning. You could have just went off and said, Mom, you don't smoke cigarettes, and you could have just dealt with it with no wisdom, which a lot of Hebrew Israelites do. They don't eat pork, and then they just go stupid on everybody else. It's like, dude, you're so jacked up. Like, what the heck? Relax. Get it. Start living it a little bit. Then you can start trying to go gun-ho on people, man. And these are the things we got to look at ourselves. So we don't want to narrow this class to one particular theme because there's so many points in your example that you have to see that it got to constantly be worked on. You know, whether King Supreme or whether the lowest brother or sister or whether the woman being in the household with the children, it's needed. Y'all got to be conscious of it.
Ecclesiastes 10:2.
Yeah.
As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers.
There you go. There you go. I mean, once again, that's taking it to the level of a leader. Trump, his nation, right? A leader of a body in their school. But let's talk about you and your household. Let's talk about you, how you walk out there as a Hebrew Israelite. You see what you do behind brothers' back, because we don't got eyes behind our head. What are you doing out there when brothers ain't around? What are you doing out there when your husband ain't around? You know, and that's why a lot of sisters don't teach and don't share the word, because you know you be doing something else that's outside of the wisdom and understanding. See? But remember this, whatever's in darkness will come into light. If you're messed up and you need to be checked, the Spirit will bring it out and you'll get checked. Now, if you're a real demon, you'll be disgruntled and disobedient from the correction. But if you're humble and you know you're wrong, you'll get corrected and you'll move forward. You'll move on. Because that's what's supposed to happen.
All right. Read verse 3.
Verse 3. An unwise king destroyed his people.
And back to Saul. That's why the Most High removed Saul. Took the spirit from him, gave it to David. Because Saul would have destroyed the people. But think about you. You can destroy your household. You can destroy your brother or your sister next to you. That's why it says, if my meat offend, I won't eat. Because you can offend them. Your example's off in any way, shape, or form. You're trying to guide somebody, and they see you buck up. They see you lose. They see you fall into your emotions, and you don't handle things right. You offend.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it back to the household. How many of you brothers going through a battle and you went home and you showed your wife weakness? And you showed her how you don't know how to solve your issues with wisdom and understanding. Now, what do you got to look forward to?
Same thing.
She's going to be like, well, you don't know how to solve your issues. You don't know how to solve your problems. Right? She's going to look at that. And it sits in her, man. You know, she tries to be a righteous woman, but at the same time, it sits in her like, damn. That's why you don't need to show her no weakness. There is no weakness. Right? You got to be that standard to your family and your children. See? Y'all get that? This is what, you know, like I said, we taught it on this level, like the churches. Y'all already know what that's about. But how do we apply this to here? To you? Y'all get that? All right, go ahead.
Jump to Job. Job chapter 21 and verse 34. 21 and verse 34. Because real quick, remember when Christ went on his 12th birthday, they found him amongst the doctors, right? But the doctors were the priests. So we have the word. So we're priests. We're spiritual doctors. We're not just carnal doctors. We're spiritual doctors. So we're healing other brothers and sisters' spirits. And anything we do, we can affect them. Whether here, at home, out in the world, when they see you with your fringes on, they see you with a head wrap, they look at you, you shine. So you're a doctor, and just by your example, you don't even know it. You could have just said something and they heard you and they're like, they hold it. I mean, I do that a lot. With a lot of positive things, I'll see a brother do something and I just do it. And the brother wouldn't even know. But it's like a positive thing where I hear a brother say something and I'm like, damn, that's true. It's like Yasharala. Working at the mall with Yasharala one day, and Yasharala was like, he asked me what I do. I was like, I don't do anything. I might play the game every now and then. But he was like, nah, you don't have time to play the game. You don't have time. And I did not play video games like that. But he was like, you still don't have time. You don't have time to play the game. So now I look at myself and I'm like, damn, every day, that little thing he told me actually sticks with me. I don't have time to play the game. So it's like now when I want to do something, not saying I can't do it,
right?
But I'm like, nah, I don't have time to do that.
Yeah, but you, like I said earlier, you did that in the world.
Okay.
You're how old?
Oh, I'm 25.
25. You done lived 23 years in the world, right? You done did that.
God.
Now, you know, like you're saying, when I was a child, I spake as a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. If y'all look at it like that, you can kind of put things in a better perspective for yourself and realize that I already did the things of the world. Why am I trying to hold on to that?
Right.
Let me live for the Most High now. I gave my life to that madness. Right. Now let me start doing it for the will of the Most High. And that's what motivated you. You know, instead of let me being on video games or on my phone, let me show my rib an example. Babe, get your Bible. Let's read together. Yeah. Right? Want to be romantic? Yeah. Put a rose right in the middle of the table and get your Bible. And we being romantic.
Let's listen to that Bible game.
Yeah.
The real music.
Yeah, right? That's what, yeah, some psalms, some scriptures. Because you did the old things. Let's put on the new man and be renewed in knowledge. And that's all he's saying is that, you know, let me start renewing the example that I've taught, especially if you came into the truth with your rib and she knew what you were back in the world, right? That's another thing. She's got to see that change. Same thing with the women too. Your husband's got to see that change. You know, but it's got to be you working at it daily and you knowing that you women should be fighting for your children. The husband is fighting for you, his nation, you know what I mean? The household of the Lord. You're supposed to be fighting for your children. So when your husband approaches you about your example, your standard, right? You need to ask yourself, what are my kids going to learn? If he talks to you about pride, about your mouth, about being disgruntled, about disrespect and disobedience, then you should ask yourself, how are my kids going to be? They're going to be just like that. They're going to watch you. And then we will deal with the men. We tell the men the same thing. What are your boys seeing? Y'all get that? That's why this example is very, very powerful. You know, it's one thing to teach it. It's another thing to do it and be the example to the world, to the nations, to our family. To the Most High. You know, for the Most High.
For the Most High. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, read that. Job 21 verse 34.
Job chapter 21 and verse 34. How then comfort ye me in vain?
Yeah, because we can comfort people in vain. But if we're not living up to that example, now that person's comforted in vain. You trying to show them something, but then read.
Seeing in your answer there remaineth falsehood.
Because now they can see your falsehood. They can see, oh, you're fake, but you're a hypocrite. But you don't do it. So now that person probably don't even come to you no more. They're like, yeah, there's no point in going to you. Because look at you. You're not what I need. You're not going to give me what I need to grow, to develop from this. To be a better example so I can show it to the next person. Jump to Galatians 6 verse 7. Galatians chapter 6 and verse 7. And one thing that we got to see, the Most High is he's not mocked. So he's going to put you in a predicament to where he's going to prove what you say. Read that.
Galatians chapter 6 verse 7. Be not deceived. Yahweh is not mocked.
He's not what?
Mocked.
Most High is not mocked. You can mock your husband, or you can think you're going to mock your husband. The Most High will check you. You can mock whoever, but the Most High is not going to let it go. Read.
For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he reap. He shall also reap.
And that's, you know, I wanted to throw in this scripture too. When it says despise, let no one despise you in your youth. Because yeah, you're a baby in the truth. But if you're not humble and you let those negative attributes of your spirit kick up, your pride, your back talking, the things that people will look at you wrong for, that's going to come back. Read that last precept again. For whatsoever
a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
So if you're sowing that in your youth and people are starting to despise you, even though you're like, yeah, I'm young, I'm trying. But if you don't have no humility with it and you're just bucking up, you're prideful, you're back talking, you don't think it's the way, you don't think what you're being shown is the right way, and you're just doing that in your youth because you don't understand, because you lack humility, remember, you're sowing that. So that's going to come back around. You're going to end up reaping that. Jump to Romans chapter 14, verse 11. The Most High is going to have you reap that, because the Most High is not mocked. He knows what you're doing. Lamar, get that. Romans 14, 11. I'm going to read 14, verse 11 and verse 12. Because if you can't be an example unto your husband, how are you going to be an example unto your children? Because they're going to see everything. And then most of all, if you're a husband and you got a wife and you got kids, if you can't be a good example unto them, how are you going to be a good example unto the world? Because you're supposed to be a king. You're a royal priesthood. You're going to be a priest. You're doing the Most High's work. This isn't FedEx. This isn't Walmart. Read that. For Romans 14, 11.
Romans chapter 14, verse 11. For it is written, as I live, saith the Lord, every knee shall bow to me.
So every knee is going to bow to the Most High. We get that. We understand that. So we might be looking at it like, damn, I gotta be an example full time, 100% of the time. But listen, if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to at least try, if you don't want to strive, if you don't want to put that effort in, read it from the top.
For it is written, as I live, saith the Lord, every knee shall bow to me.
You're going to have to answer to the Most High. He's not mocked. You're going to have to answer to him in this life and in the life to come. Read.
And every tongue shall confess to God.
Yeah, and every tongue. Everything you say, you're going to have to confess to him. You're going to have to confess to him, like, why did you act this way? Why did you carry yourself this way? What's up, Zion?
No, I think about it, because a lot of people like to psychologically just cut themselves out of this. It's almost like they want to give excuses. Like the Most High is really going to listen to excuses.
Yeah.
Because he's definitely not about that.
Yeah.
That ain't going to happen.
Let me throw one right in there, man. I know this time is dwindling down. Go to Philippians 3 and 16. 15. Philippians 3 verse 15.
Philippians chapter 3 verse 15.
Go ahead.
Let us therefore, as many as be perfect.
As many as be what?
Be perfect.
We're trying to be what?
Perfect.
What are we reaching for?
Perfect.
We're reaching for perfection. Go ahead.
Be thus minded.
Be what minded? Striving, fighting, trying to conquer, right? Trying to overcome, being consistent and diligent. Go ahead.
And if in anything ye be otherwise minded, God shall reveal even this unto you.
Right. See? If anything that you lack, anything that's needed, the Most High is going to reveal it. Go ahead.
Verse 16.
Go ahead.
Nevertheless, whereto we have already attained.
Go ahead.
Let us walk by the same rule.
Right. Are you walking by what you learned? Are you walking by what you attained? For the women, it could be as basic as wives, be in subjection to your own husbands. You don't have to go to 75 scriptures, revelation breakdowns, right? Well, I just don't get it. I don't understand. What don't you understand? I can see you not understanding the 7 heads and the 10 horns, right? And the beast that rose up out of the sea, and you know, this was that nation. The first one was the First World War. I can see that. But not wives, obey your husbands. That's it. It's simple, right? But the thing is that you're not walking after the things you already know and affirm. You want to argue about things that you don't know. Let's deal with what you do know, right? Do you know how to be respectful? Do you know how to be in order? Do you know how to follow? Y'all see this? Go ahead.
Let us mind the same thing.
Let us do what?
Mind the same thing.
Go ahead.
Brethren, be followers together of me.
Right. So remember, Paul was a man. So what gave him the power to say, follow me? Because he was following Christ. Right? So you hear that. Brother, was that my example? Do we do that? You hear that. You hear that from brothers. You hear that from us. Like, hey, do we do that? So where'd you get that from? Oh, I was just like, brother, we ain't doing that. Where'd you get that from? I didn't do that. Why'd you do that? You see that? So you got to follow the example that's laid down. Go ahead.
And mark them which walk as ye have us for an example.
So are you watching the right example? Are you coveting the best gifts? Right. Are you following the good examples? All right. You can complain about everybody, this person doing this person doing that. What about the good examples? Are you following that? I don't see none. You got the Bible. Right? You got the Bible as the example. Why you ain't following that? Because you're being hypocritical. You're just trying to find each and every reason why not for you to follow the customs that's laid down. Either the customs is working through the people you're around, and as you see certain people falling short, you still see the example through the word. Y'all get this? Go ahead.
For many, verse 18, for many walk, of whom I have told you often, and now tell you even weeping.
Even weeping. Go ahead.
That they are the enemies of the cross of Christ, whose end is destruction.
Did we miss a part? What verse are you at?
I'm at 19 now.
Yeah. All right. So, no, 17. I'm sorry.
17 again. God, brethren, be also followers together of me, and mark them which walk so as ye have us for an example.
Right. That's what I missed, because you got to read it correctly.
Oh.
The word is in sample. In sample. So outward example is one thing. Inward example. Are you following after the attributes and characteristics that's in the brothers around you, the sisters that's around you? The good, obviously, right? Are you following the in sample? Y'all see that? And there's a lot of people that don't look at the characteristics. Like, if you see this brother is endowed with, you got over here, you're cocky as hell, but you see this brother got the attribute of not being cocky. Well, then you pick that up. You see this sister over here has got the example of, oh, she doesn't run her mouth to her husband. Well, you're supposed to be wearing out her footstep. Wearing out her doorstep and asking her, well, how did you, what is in you working in you? The in sample. So we're talking about the example, but the in sample is most important.
Can I get that definition?
Yeah, go ahead. What you got?
In sample. It says an example, a pattern or model for imitation. Sorry. To exemplify, to show by example. Sorry, that wasn't a good definition. But this is a crazy
what,
word.
What else you got?
Let me look up some more. But this is you know, it's funny. You would always read this word and you would think, oh, it's similar to example. So it's not.
Nah.
It's not. You don't think more of it. But this.
In sample. Let me see what I got here. It says shape, stature, resemblance, type, model. Oh, that's not a good one either. Yeah. Anybody grab the dictionary yet? What you got? In sample. Because a lot of these, and we don't got enough time to go through all of them, but there's a lot of these things, man, is where brothers and sisters fall short because they're not trying to pick up the inward things from other brothers and sisters, the characteristic from other brothers and sisters. Yeah, what you got?
No, it's not a definition, but it's on the point what you're saying.
Okay, go ahead. But does anybody got the definition?
Oh,
in sample. What you was gonna say though?
No, just how, even with that, because just how the mind works, man. It's like we see like one negative attribute about somebody, and we completely just cut them off.
Right.
Not looking at like the whole picture of that individual,
right?
Of the things that we can pick up, because it's like we don't even look at the characteristics. We look at a person like, I just don't like this individual. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this individual actually has some things that you can take and use.
Right.
Rather than just be like, this whole individual's garbage.
Well, that's. I think you're veering into a whole different subject, in the sense of that's because this person is still in that worldly mind. Okay. And we do got to do a class on that, because a lot of times brothers and sisters don't understand that. I think we kind of beat it to a pulp here, that when people come in, that they're not going to be perfect, but they're striving for perfection. They're striving for this perfection, but in that, they're still going to have things that they fall short in. Okay. You know what I mean? But what I've learned recently, it'd be the most hypocritical ones that don't want to gain and look at the good in others. That's really what it is. It'd be the ones that you can pick 100 things from this individual that they're off in, and the people that they're talking about, you can pick maybe 5 or 6 things. Why? Because it's a hypocritical mentality. They won't work on themselves. That's why I said earlier, you got to look at yourself. You understand? This class ain't about you looking at nobody else. Like, if y'all get that, right? It wasn't about you checking somebody else out. That's Israel. They interpret everything, except instead of you looking at yourself, you looking at somebody else like, yep, yep, that's for that brother. Yep, that's for that sister. No, Negro, that's for you. It's for you. You got the problem. Because you don't know how to judge, because you're not looking at your own self. What's that? Did you find it? Nobody found that?
Very similar. What I'm reading.
What you got? Christian. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I was looking through the Thayer's definition. It's a little different from the like saying the patterns and everything like that. In the technical sense, the pattern of conformity to which a thing must be made. In an ethical sense,
the pattern of conformity of a thing that which must be made. So, if we look at the pattern of this building, and we look at all the pillars in this building, and how it's made for this to stand, those are the important things that we need to be learning. Like when we look at Yahweh Shai, we look at his ensample, the things that are inside him that made him who he is. And those are the things we're supposed to be looking at with righteousness, with the scriptures, with examples amongst us, right? I'm going to say it again. The scriptures say, covet the best gifts, right? I can pull a million things from one brother, especially, listen, as much as scriptures I got in my head, I can literally rip you up 1,000 times over in my head and condemn you 1,000,000 times over. Israelites are good at that. I can condemn you 1,000,000 times over. But how many good things can I pick up?
right? How many good things could I say? Damn, that's a good example. Y'all see that?
Con.
So, you know, and I think we're veering from the point of the topic because it gets to this point where brothers and sisters don't look at themselves and they're not looking at that inward man. You know, you got something else on that?
Oh, yeah.
What you got?
In an ethical sense, a dissuasive example, a pattern of warning, ruinous events which serve as admonitions or warnings to others, an example to be imitated of men worthy of imitation, in the doctrinal sense of a type, i.e., a person or thing prefiguring a future messianic person or thing.
Okay, they're going into
something deep.
They're going into something deep. But you know, it's just showing you about the inward things, the fashion, the figure, the form, pattern, or print. You know, that's all it's in, but inwardly as opposed to outwardly. All right, go ahead. What else you got? We got 10 minutes.
All right, jump to Matthew chapter 24, verse 5. Somebody give me that real quick. You're going to read through verse 51.
Come. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 25?
45.
45.
All right.
Come. Who then is faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household.
So what's the Most High's household? It's the body.
It's the church.
It's the church. It's the family. It's your nation. It's all those things. Go ahead.
To give them meat in due season.
And what's that meat that you're going to give them? When they come to you for anything, whether it's counsel, whether it's word, whether it's comfort, whether it's love, they need love right now, whether it's anything. When they come to you, they can expect that meat. They can expect that you're going to be able to deliver it and that you're a faithful servant that's doing it too. Read.
Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing.
And that's what it is. We want when Christ comes back, we can stand boldly in front of him. We're not going to be one of those ones that's like, oh man, you come to him and he's like, depart from me, I never knew you. You're like, oh my gosh, are you serious?
No, I think even like what Zion was saying earlier is that I think this generation ain't gonna say that. They're going to say, well, I didn't do it because, you know, Christian, you know, his glasses, you know, I didn't like his glasses, so, you know, I couldn't stomach his glasses every day.
Excuse.
It's going to be some excuse because another individual. Oh, Zion, he was, you know, I was willing to do the work, but you know what? I didn't like how his voice, he's too loud. So that really stopped me from studying, learning, following, all that. I think that's what you were saying earlier, is like, you always got some negative example or excuse why not to follow the good example. Right? If all fails, if all which all men are going to fall short in some arena, you got perfection. You got Christ. He was a man that didn't sin. But are you following that? Are you keeping to that? Right? Go ahead.
Read.
Con. Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, find so doing. Verily I say unto you, that he shall make him ruler over all his goods.
Just a little reason to really fight for that perfection. If you think of the Most High's goods, he says, heaven is my dwelling place, earth is my footstool. So if you just think, this is just his footstool. You're going to be ruler over just a footstool? Imagine heaven. That's one reason to fight for the perfection. That's one reason to really give your spirit to this. To being a good example to your people. Read.
Verse 48. But if that evil servant shall say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming.
If you get tired of doing it, if you lose that love, if you lose your first love, your fire burns out. Read.
And shall begin to smite his fellow servant.
How do you begin to fight your fellow servants? By you doing that. It's simple. You're not there anymore. You're not there for them anymore. You're not dependable no more. So you're hurting them. What's up?
Not trustworthy.
You're not trustworthy. They can't look at you and be like, oh man, you're the guy. Your family members, they were seeing your example. They were seeing you come up. They ain't in the truth, but they were like, damn, he's doing something right. He must be doing something right. And then you turn back, and then they're like, oh man, I guess it didn't work for you. Right. They were starting to develop that hope. But now you turn back and you end up destroying them. Your family, your kids was following, but now you stopped and your kids, you see what's out there for them. So you smite them, read.
Con, my Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to smite his fellow servant, and to eat and drink with the drunken.
Yeah, you go back out there. You become one of them. You start doing the works they do, and you're drunk with the madness that they're drunk in. You're drunk with the cup of Babylon. You're out of it. You're the salt that lost its savor. Go ahead.
Verse 50. The Lord of that servant shall come in the day when he looketh not for him, and in an hour that he is not aware of.
It's like those virgins. It's like he had the 10 virgins. You had 5 that was wise and 5 that wasn't. The 5 that was wise, when the Lord came, they went in, they got married to the husbandman, which is Christ. But the 5 that was not wise, when he came, they were lacking. And they tried to go in. He was like, I don't know you.
Mm-hmm. They were lacking the essential things that they were going to pick up from what was going on around them. Whether they were put in a predicament to show forth love and they never gained that attribute, or like we're talking about, you know, you being an example to your family, your household, your children, your nation, and you never what? It was never really in you.
Right.
And you didn't work towards it, and you didn't build, and you didn't grow. Right? You weren't prepared. Could I get one? Okay. John 13. St. John 13, verse 15.
No. John chapter 13 and verse 15.
Go ahead.
For I have given you an example.
Right.
That ye should do as I have done to you.
Right.
Verily, verily, I say unto you.
Right. So you see that? The scriptures, Christ is the ultimate example. So we don't have an excuse. Like you were saying earlier, well, they're going to come up with an excuse. There's no excuse. We got to always look back and look at what we need to be doing according to the scriptures. Y'all get that? One more. 1 Timothy 4:2. We've been quoting it all night. Go there.
1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 2.
Uh-huh.
Speaking lies and hypocrisy.
1 Timothy 4 verse 12. Excuse me.
1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 12.
Uh-huh.
Let no man despise thy youth.
Right.
But be thou an example of the believers.
Right. So be the example to the believers. That's what we're fighting for. That's what we're struggling for, man, to rebuild our nation. But it starts with your character, what you follow, what you uphold. Go ahead.
In word, in conversation.
In what?
In word.
So be the example in word, what you're saying. Right? So say ye, so do ye. Go ahead.
In conversation.
Go ahead.
In charity.
Right. In love. Go ahead.
In spirit.
Right.
In faith.
Right. So they're looking at your word, your actions in love, your spirit and faith. Go ahead.
And purity.
Right. And they're looking at how pure you are with it. See, when you're pure, you can make a mistake and it can be forgiven. You can get checked, be chastised, right? But if you're not pure, then you ain't going to receive that. You ain't going to receive the check and the reproof, the correction that's going to lead you to life. Y'all get this? Go ahead.
Verse 13. Till I come. Give attendance to reading,
right?
To exhortation, to doctrine.
Read.
Neglect not the gift that is in thee.
Right. This is how you are not going to let your example be despised. Right? This is how you're going to keep your example to be moving forward. Not 1 minute you're trying to be that Hebrew Israelite, next minute you're back in the world. Go ahead.
Which was given thee by prophecy, with the laying on of the hands of the presbytery.
Go ahead.
Meditate upon these things. Give thyself wholly to them.
You see that? How are you going to continually be an example? You got to continually be in this book. Go ahead.
That thy profiting may appear to all.
That what?
That thy profiting.
The only way you're going to be able to show people that the work is working for you is these characteristics. And your conversation, your word, your charity, and the spirit, and purity, and faith. And while you're giving attendance to reading in the doctrine. Y'all see that?
Come.
As you're doing what? Verse 15 again?
Meditate upon these things.
As you're meditating. As you're meditating. So like you said, no, you ain't got time for video games. You ain't got time for Snapchat, Facebook, just a Facebook scroller.
Right, you a picture taker.
Yeah, yeah. That's madness, man. Your meditation is supposed to be on these things. Go ahead.
Give thyself wholly to them.
Give yourself wholly to them. Stop giving yourself over to madness and things that are going to occupy your mind.
Right.
And teach you how to be the wrong example. Go ahead.
That thy profiting may appear to all.
Go ahead.
Take heed unto thyself.
Do what?
Take heed unto thyself.
That's why the scriptures come back and say, examine yourself. You got to keep watching yourself and being on top of yourself. Right? In every little thing. And if you doubt, then ask. If you're unsure, check yourself. Right? If you don't know, double check. That's how you're going to keep pure. That's how you're going to keep from making mistakes. Go ahead.
And unto the doctrine, continue in them.
Right. You know why I say that about take heed to itself? Because once again, a lot of brothers and sisters figure they know, and they stop asking. You understand? Who was on the phone with earlier? You know why? Because I ask. If I have a question, if I'm doubtful or unsure, or if I need to just second question something in my head, I'm going to ask. Why? Because I'd rather ask than be wrong. I'd rather ask than than say something off. Y'all get that? So, a lot of brothers and sisters, they get rank, they get position, they get scriptures and what? They think they know every damn thing. And they continually making the wrong moves. And then your example be off. How do you know your method don't work? Because look at your example. If your method was working, then your example wouldn't be off.
Right.
Y'all see that? It would be like Paul said, you would be looking at the end sample of the men over you and saying, wait a minute, they don't do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just like I was telling the brother the other day. You see me get online when I'm arguing with my wife and get on Facebook and tell you how I'm arguing with my wife? The only ones that are doing that is the youngest of youngest people in the truth. The only ones that are doing that. They get in on YouTube and telling their life and spilling their heart on Facebook. You're young-minded. But you don't see that example. Where are you getting that from? Why are you doing that? Right? So you got to ask yourself, why am I not asking before I'm doing these things? And because I'm leading myself into the wrong situations. See, meditate on these things. 16, read it.
Take heed unto thyself and to the doctrine.
Read.
Continue in them.
Go ahead.
For in doing this, thou shalt both save thyself.
Yeah, that's how you're going to be able to say, I am a Jew, inwardly and outwardly.
Right.
Because you're giving heed to the doctrine, you're meditating solely on these things, and you're not neglecting the gifts. Right? Go ahead. The best gifts. Covet the best gifts, right? I've been saying that all night. Go ahead.
And them that hear thee.
Right, and them that hear thee. So y'all get that, right? See, people are going to look at you. If you abide in this, and it's going to benefit them, and it's going to benefit yourself. So you got to learn how to protect yourself in the spirit, man, and know how Satan tries to come in and destroy everything you build and everything you're supposed to be. What's up? All right, so that's it on that, right? It's 9? All right, do y'all got any questions on that topic? Anybody wanted to say anything? Any questions online? If you don't got any questions online, brothers and sisters, we will be here in the morning for Shabbat morning class. All right, just a reminder that Purim is coming up on the 16th and 17th. 16th and 17th, Purim is coming up. And also Passover is coming up on the 1st of April. All right? So if y'all feel y'all want to come join us, you feel you want to practice commandments, we will be here doing that. All right? Getting together for the Passover. All right? We'll wait a few seconds. If nobody has anything online, does anybody got anything y'all want to talk about, bring out, or anything? La? I can't hear y'all. La? There you go. It comes. Once, yeah, twice. We'll wait a sec. Nah, nothing? All right, let's salute them, everybody. Say shalom.
Shalom.
All right, we'll see.